this is Tom Glavine, and you're listening to Mets Baseball on the Fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN, New York.
It's Mets playoff baseball on the Fan.
A 1-0 pitch. Swing and a fly ball to left field. Backing up Floyd. He's there. Put it in the book. The New York Mets have won the National League Eastern Division Championship, and the party is underway. Fastball hit in the air off the pitch down the right field line. Tough play for Green. Back towards the wall. It's off the base of the wall. Kent got a slow start. Now he rounds third coming home. Valentine's relay throws the plate to slide. He is out. And now they've got the runner behind him coming in. And through and tagged out. How about that?
2-1 pitch to Delgado. Hit high in the air to straightaway center field. Lawson goes back to the warning track. Near the wall. Watches it go. It's gone. Carlos Delgado, a solo home run to straightaway center field.
Now the pitch. Line the other way toward right field. Over goes Drew. He can't get it. Extra base hit. Bouncing to the wall. Suzuka scores. Delgado to third. He's being waved around. The relay by Kent to the plate. Not in time. Straight into third. 2-run double for David Wright. Wagner comes check. The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Put it in the book. The New York Mets have taken the opener.
New York Mets baseball on Sports Radio 66 WFAN is brought to you by Chrysler. Inspiration comes standard. UPS. What can Brown do for you? Allstate. Are you in good hands? Foxwoods Resort Casino. The wonder of it all in Mystic Country, Connecticut. Nikon. At the heart of the image. Car Buyers Market. New York's Automotive Weekly. Croton. Makers of fine watches since 1878. Time Warner Triple Play. Hyundai. Take the Hyundai Challenge. Visit thehyundaichallenge.com. The New York Board of Trade. New York's original futures exchange. The New York Lottery. Hey, you never know. Top Dot. Mortgages from a new perspective. And by New York City OTB. We bring the race to you.
From Shea Stadium in New York, welcome to New York Mets baseball. Tonight, the Mets face the Los Angeles Dodgers in Game 2 of the National League's Division Series. The starting pitchers tonight, a couple of left-handers. For the Dodgers, it's 25-year-old native of Taiwan, Hong-Chi Kuo. And for the Mets, it's the veteran left-hander with 290 career Major League wins, Tom Glavine. Hi again, everyone. I'm Howie Rose, along with Tom McCarthy. Gary Cohen will join us for a couple of innings midway as the Mets look to make it 2 in a row over the Dodgers after yesterday's dramatic 6-5 win. It's a cool night for baseball here at Shea, and we'll come back and take a closer look at the pitching matchup in a moment on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Howie Rose, Tom McCarthy, Gary Cohen with you at Shea Stadium, and Ralph Kiner has just received a standing ovation after throwing out the first pitch to Sandy Alomar. Ralph went out to the edge of the pitcher's mound, and Sandy set up right on the edge of the grass in front of home plate. And as you would expect, Ralph threw him a strike. Willie Randolph has just walked over to shake Ralph's hand. And I'll tell you what, with all due respect to Tom Seaver and Mike Piazza and anyone on today's ball club, I don't know that there is a greater living icon in the New York Mets franchise history, Tom, than Ralph Kiner.
Well, I think the reaction from the crowd said an awful lot. As soon as he started to walk out toward the mound before his name was even introduced, people started realizing that it was Ralph that was walking out toward the mound to throw out the ceremonial first pitch. And, you know, for so many years, he, along with Lindsey Nelson and Bob Murphy, I mean, they were part of really the lifeline for the fans, to the players, to the games themselves on television and also on radio.
You know, it's enough of a treat for us to do what we do for a living. And in Tom's case, my case, Gary's case, for the team we grew up rooting for in this ballpark. And I can honestly say that perhaps the biggest perk of the entire deal is the time that we've had over the years, whether it's at dinner or just some other function, to just sit down and talk baseball off the cuff with Ralph and just hear the stories which voluntarily flow from him. Never mind the learning experience, the entertainment is beyond belief.
Well, and also the way he tells the story, too. And this is the case for a lot of guys that played during his era, the way they tell the story because they want to tell the story, and they put it across in a pretty nice way.
And there is no finer gentleman, more beloved in the game of baseball, never mind just with the New York Mets, than Ralph Kiner. So this was certainly a just honor for him tonight, throwing out the first pitch. Now, the pitching matchup is brought to you by Nikon at the heart of the image. Now the Mets are going to have to figure out a little something different against Hong-Chi Kuo, who pitched against them last month and was part of a 5-0 shutout. Now the Mets have really struggled against left-handers over the second part of this season. But what they have going for them tonight as far as their pitching is concerned is they've got Glavine on proper rest. There might have been a temptation to bring him back yesterday on short rest after the injury to El Duque, but after winning yesterday, I would say the Mets have the ball in the guys' hands that they want.
Well, and also, Howie, he's pitched very well through the month of September as well. Since he came back from that scare, the blood clot scare, he has been extremely sound on the mound. In fact, he's got at least 6 innings in every outing, with the exception of the first 6 innings plus. So that's a good sign, plus the fact that this is his 11th postseason overall. Meanwhile, Hong-Chi Kuo, as Howie said, his last time out against the Mets on September 8th, 6 scoreless innings. He allowed 3 base hits in 5 starts as a member of the Dodgers. He's 1-1 with a 3.07 ERA. Hong-Chi Kuo has made his way from the bullpen. The same for Tom Glavine. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll run down the starting lineups for tonight's Game 2. That's up next on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Lineup cards have just been exchanged at home plate. Sandy Alomar took it out there for the Mets. And the Dodgers first base coach, former Dodger infielder, among other teams that he played for, Mariano Duncan, delivered the lineups to the umpires. And, of course, as this is a postseason game, there are 6 of them. Ted Barrett will be behind home plate calling the balls and strikes. Eric Cooper at first base. Ron Kopel will be at second. And Mike Witters at third. Brian Onora on the left field line, and the crew chief, John Hirschbeck, will be on the right field line. Now, we have been told that the start time for Game 3, which will be in Los Angeles on Saturday, will be 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So that'll be a 4:30 p.m. start local time in Los Angeles. And Willie Randolph continues to hedge. Now, the Mets list somewhat tentatively their starters for the next 2 games as Steve Traxel, who will face Greg Maddux on Saturday in Game 3, and then Oliver Perez against Brad Penny Sunday, and the game time to be announced if, of course, it's necessary, in Game 4. But you know what? In talking to Willie before the game today, and they have a big interview room where they do a mass press conference, Willie still would not firmly commit to Traxel for Game 3 and Perez for Game 4. And I said to him, well, does that hinge somewhat on the outcome of the game tonight? And he said it could, but he wouldn't elaborate on that. I'd be hard-pressed, Tom, to find a set of circumstances that would place Perez ahead of Traxel for Game 3 unless whatever problem Steve has had personally might be weighing so heavily on him that they influence his ability to start, and then the Mets have another huge problem.
Well, I think that's part of it too, Howie. I think he wants to see what the outcome of tonight's game is to see if he can pull back a little bit on Steve Traxel, maybe for Game 3 if the Mets wind up winning tonight, and then maybe he can send Oliver Perez out for a potential clincher in Game number 3. Tonight, though, the Mets are in line because they have left-hander Tom Glavine on the mound. He has taken the field with the rest of his teammates, and tonight's starting lineup sponsored by Foxwoods Resort Casino, the wonder of it all in Mystic Country, Connecticut. First for Grady Little's L.A. Dodgers, leading it off and playing shortstop, Rafael Furcal. Kenny Lofton gets the start once again in center field. He bats second. Nomar Garciaparra, the first baseman, hits third. Jeff Kent is again at second base. He bats cleanup. J.D. Drew, the right fielder, hits fifth. Russell Martin will bat sixth tonight, do the catching. Marlon Anderson, the left fielder, hits seventh. Hitting eighth and playing third base, Julio Lugo. And batting ninth and pitching is left-hander Hong-Chi Kuo. Meanwhile, for Willie Randolph, he's adjusted one position for tonight's game. Leading it off and playing shortstop, Jose Reyes. Paul LaDuca, the catcher, bats second. Carlos Beltran is in center field hitting third. The first baseman is Carlos Delgado, and he's the cleanup batter. The number 5 hitter is David Wright, the third baseman. Cliff Floyd, the left fielder, bats sixth. Jose Valentin, the second baseman, hits seventh. Batting eighth and playing right field, Andy Chavez. And batting ninth and pitching, he just finished his warm-up tosses, is left-hander Tom Glavine. The first pitch is brought to you by American Capital Partners, your partners for financial success, as Rafael Furcal digs in, getting set for all the play-by-play. Here's Howie Rose.
Thank you very much, Tom. Our game time temperature is brought to you by P.C. Richard & Son, the appliance, electronics, and computer giant. A chilly 62 degrees at game time with swirling winds right now. And you look at those flags in center field, they're doing several different things. So Glavine, the left-hander, with his first pitch, and it's popped foul into the seats behind home plate by Furcal, 0-1. Furcal went 1 for 4 yesterday. Lifetime against Glavine, he is 11 for 40 with a couple of home runs. Right after that first pitch, Grady Little has gone out to home plate to chat with the home plate umpire, Ted Barrett. And this may have, and I'm only guessing now, and I don't really imagine it will because they're looking over the lineup cards, but the point I was going to make is that it's going to be very interesting to watch Glavine tonight because this is clearly the coldest night that he's had to pitch on since coming back from the problem which caused numbness in the middle finger, really the ring finger, pardon me, of his pitching hand. It cost him the last 2 weeks of August. And he has been using something, not water, not a hot water bottle, but a medical device which allows him to increase the circulation on that finger and keep it warm. But what Grady Little's doing right now is going over that lineup card with Ted Barrett.
Yeah, in fact, he's been out with the lineup card for a while. We look down at the Mets dugout. Rick Down and Willie Randolph both have the lineup cards out with Jerry Manuel to look at their lineup cards just to make sure that there's no mistake. Now, Barrett has not gone over to the Mets dugout, so whatever we were given, which was the lineup we just presented, seems to be the lineup. Grady Little must have had some kind of mistake on his card.
Now Glavine ready to go, and the 0-1, a fastball taken outside, a ball and a strike.
And as far as keeping the circulation going, Glavine said he's not really doing a whole lot different than what he did before. He's taking a lot more aspirin, though, just to keep things flowing.
Now the 1-1 pitch, and it's ripped in the air down the left field line, foul, and Glavine challenging Furcal. Came in on the right-hand hitter's hands with a fastball, and the count 1-2. This stuff is old hat for Tom Glavine. It's his 33rd postseason start. He's 12 and 15 with a 3.44 career postseason ERA. The 1-2 pitch, changeup hit on the ground to short. Reyes waits on it. He's got it. Fires the first in time, one away. So Furcal grounds out. Kenny Lofton will be next. Now the Mets defensive alignment is brought to you by Meineke Car Care Centers. Right service, right price. For the Mets, Carlos Delgado at first base, Jose Valentin at second, Jose Reyes at short, David Wright at third. In the outfield, Cliff Floyd in left field, Carlos Beltran in center, Indy Chavez is in right, with Paul LaDuca catching Tom Glavine. So here's Lofton, a left-hand hitter, and still one to be reckoned with in terms of speed. So David Wright in tight at third. And Glavine misses outside with a fastball, 1-0.
Howie, you mentioned Eddie Chavez in right field. One of the reasons why I would assume Willie Randolph has him in right instead of left is because the right-handed hitters for the Dodgers, you would assume, are going to punch the ball the opposite way against Tom Glavine. He's the best defensive outfielder.
1-0, changeup hit for a strike, 1-1 to Lofton.
You figure they're going to go after the outside part of the plate, and if they do it correctly, they're going to try to go the opposite way. What Furcal did was the wrong way to do it. He turned the ball over.
Now the 1-1 on the way, and it's dribbled foul off to the right. Glavine ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes. The wind right now would appear to be blowing across from right and tilting out towards left based on the reading of the flag at this second. Check back with us in about 10 seconds. It might be totally different. Now the 1-2 to Lofton, and it's grounded foul up the first base line. Caroms along the line into fair territory where umpire John Hirschbeck fields it and walks over to present it to a fan. Glavine on the year was 15-7 with a 3.82 earned run average. Now he's into the windup, and the 1-2 to Lofton. Change up low, ball 2. Nomar Garcia-Parra waits on deck. The Dodgers are a team that get on base. They led the National League in hitting. The 2-2 on the way. Fastball inside and low. Full count to Lofton. Kenny Lofton now in his 16th big league season. Been to the World Series twice. Never won it. And the payoff pitch on the way. And it's lined towards third. Grabbed on one hop by Wright. He throws to first in time. 2 men away. Good reaction play by David Wright, who went down to his knees to grab a short hop off the bat of Kenny Lofton.
Well, a great job by David, not only to get to that baseball, but also to break up the play a little bit. The first part of the play was the dive to grab it, and then the second part was to get to his feet and make a clean throw over to Delgado. And he had to hurry because Lofton still runs well from the left side of that box.
And now Nomar Garcia-Parra. The first pitch, change up low outside, 1-0. Nomar went 1 for 5 yesterday after hitting .303 on the year. He had a 2-run double in the 7th inning, which tied the ball game. Now the 1-0, and that's driven in the air to right field, not too deep. settling under it. Andy Chavez, he's there, makes the catch, and that retires the side. Good start for Glavine. The Dodgers go in order. Middle of the first at Shea. It's the Dodgers, nothing, and the Mets coming up on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Last of the first with no score here at Shea, and now the Mets will bat for the second time this year against Hong-Chi Kuo. And the first time did not go well at all. That was on the 8th of September, and Kuo pitched 6 shutout innings. And the first pitch to Jose Reyes, a fastball high, 1-0. The Dodgers won that game 5-0. Kuo allowed only 3 hits and no runs. Talking to Willie Randolph before the game today, he said the Mets need to be more patient than they were that day against Kuo. The 1-0 popped foul into the seats above our heads, and the count even to Reyes.
I think it's a good point, Howie. I think Cliff Floyd also said it perfectly as well, is that they have to force Hong-Chi Kuo to throw more than his repertoire. Take a few pitches away from that repertoire, run the counts deep so you can set up fastball counts.
The outfield straight away against Reyes, and the 1-1, a slider on the inside corner for a strike, 1-2. Well, Kuo is going to throw predominantly fastball slider. He'll mix in a curve and a changeup here and there. But those first 2 pitches are what he gets by on. The 1-2 swung on and missed, and Reyes down on strikes as he went for a ball down and away. And Kuo strikes out his first batter. 1 up, 1 down, and Paul LaDuca coming up. LaDuca went 2 for 5 yesterday after having a great regular season that saw him finish 6th in the National League in batting at .318. Remember, Grady Little wants to take advantage of the fact that the Mets just have not hit left-handers consistently second half of the year. LaDuca takes a fastball at the knees for a strike. It's 0-1. The Mets have lost 13 of their last 18 games against left-handed starting pitchers. It almost doesn't matter who they are, veterans or kids like Kuo. The 0-1 hit in the air to right field, not deep, over towards the line. Drew hustling. He gets there, and he makes the catch. 2 men away. So LaDuca flies to right, 2 out, nobody on, and Carlos Beltran coming up. Chrysler 300C, one of the most awarded new cars, combines elegance, safety, and passion. Chrysler, inspiration comes standard. Beltran 0 for 2 yesterday, but he threw 3 walks. Very important with Carlos Delgado hitting behind him, and Delgado having such a good day. Kuo is 25 years old, out of Taiwan. And he misses down and into Beltran, 1-0. He and Yankees pitcher Chen-Ming Wang know each other pretty well, going back to their days in high school in Taiwan. Here's the 1-0, and a fastball down the middle for a strike, 1-1. Kuo is the 3rd Taiwanese pitcher to start a game in Major League history. In addition to the Yankees, Wang, Colorado's Chen-Wei Cao, also is from Taiwan. Now the 1-1, and a changeup outside, ball 2.
A great story about a month ago on Hong-Chi Kuo, when they asked him about his relationship to Chen-Ming Wang. They said, you guys were on the same high school team. Who was the better pitcher? And Hong-Chi Kuo said, well, he was. I was basically an outfielder.
2-1 pitch, popped up near first base in fair territory. Behind the bag, Garciaparra now moves to his right and just does make the backhand catch as that wind, which we told you occasionally blowing from right to left, did just that to the ball. But Garciaparra made the play, and the Mets go in order. At the end of 1, no score on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Sports Radio 66 WFAN New York.
Up, swung on and missed, 0-1. Kent went 2 for 4 yesterday. Lifetime against Glavine, he's had 14 out of 54, including a home run. Kent now steps out, rubbing his hand up the barrel of the bat before digging back in. David Wright behind the bag at third and off the line. And the 0-1, a changeup downstairs, a ball and a strike.
You know, yesterday during the outset, the energy in the crowd was outstanding. I mean, really, it carried over from the first inning all the way through. And you know, the Mets offense energized with those home runs by Delgado and Floyd. They need the same kind of energy tonight.
The 1-1, changeup ripped in the air to center. Going back, Beltran. He'll get there. He's under it, and he makes the catch. 1 away. Carlos got an excellent jump on that ball. And so Glavine has retired the first 4, and it'll bring up left-hand hitting J.D. Drew. Now, against left-handers this year, Glavine limited the opposition to just a .200 batting average. And only 3 of the 22 home runs that Glavine allowed came against left-hand batters. J.D. Drew went 1 for 4 yesterday. And the first pitch, a fastball down the middle at the knees, 0-1.
So many quotes about that play at the plate. I didn't see a whole lot of quotes, though, from J.D. Drew. Rich Donnelly talked about it. Jeff Kent talked about it.
Now the 0-1 to Drew, and a curveball hit on the ground to short. To his left, Reyes has it behind the back, fires and gets him. 2 men out. Drew got down the line very well, and Reyes, as he has become accustomed to doing over the course of this season, takes a little extra time now before throwing the ball, and that's by design because the Mets worked with him to try and slow the game down a little bit. And all that really means is take your time just a little bit. And so Reyes has now gotten into the habit when he fields the ball of taking a beat. You can't do that against everyone. You had Drew running from the left side there, and Reyes just did get it there in time. So 2 out, nobody on. And here's Russell Martin, the catcher. And the first pitch, changeup on the outside corner, strike 1. It was Martin who hit the ball off the right field wall yesterday that produced that strange play at the plate with Kent and Drew both tagged out by LaDuca. The 0-1, fastball away, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Talked to Paul today about his comments after the game where he said that John Hirschbeck gave him sort of a sly look when after he tagged out Jeff Kent. He was wondering, why is he giving me this look? And then all of a sudden he realized J.D. Drew was right in his back pocket.
Here's the 1-1 to Martin. Change up, swung on and missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I said to Paul, I said it was so natural a comment that you kind of made yourself seem like the everyman out there.
I still can't believe he could have heard anybody or seen anything. Now the 1-2 to Martin. Fastball hit foul down the right field line. Tell you what, this kid looks like he's going to be a pretty good hitter. Now, the pitch from Maine did not get in as far as I might have thought that it did with the naked eye, but Martin still did a good job to turn it around and hit it off the right field wall. 1-2 pitch, fastball way outside, 2-2. I mean, still, Maine was able to run that ball in on Martin. He got the bat out in a hurry and hit it a long way. Had an excellent rookie season, batting .282 with 10 home runs. And now Glavine with a 2-2 pitch. And a little squib foul off to the right. So the count still 2 balls and 2 strikes to Russell Martin. Marlon Anderson waits on deck. We're scoreless here with 2 out, nobody on at the top of the second. Glavine blowing on that left hand behind the pitching rubber. He works from the third base side, goes into the windup, and the 2-2 pitch is fouled back this way underneath us. So Martin hanging in against Glavine. The Mets could really use a lengthy outing from Tom Glavine for a lot of reasons tonight. Now, of course, the Mets have a day off tomorrow. But after very liberal use of the bullpen yesterday, Willie doesn't want to do that again. 2-2 pitch, fastball line foul off to the right.
It seemed just from talking to Willie today that everybody is available, including Guillermo Mota. And he said that, this point in the year, guys are a little tired anyway. And the one thing about Mota, it's a lot like Aaron Heilman, too. He throws that changeup. Sometimes when you're a little tired, it helps the changeup. I can't imagine he'll pitch 2 innings again, but he could be used late in this game again.
Now Glavine with a 2-2 pitch, and a changeup bounces in front of home plate. And the count full now to Martin, who's having a good at-bat.
Oh, very good at-bat, Howie. And I was wondering if Grady Little would have moved him up to the number 2 spot for this ball game, because Lofton has struggled during his career against Glavine, struggled yesterday as well. And Martin's so good against left-handers, hitting at a .366 clip.
Here's the payoff pitch, and a changeup outside, ball 4. So credit Martin with fouling off a couple of pretty tough pitches and working out the first walk of the game. And Marlon Anderson will be the batter. Anderson went 2 for 4 in yesterday's game. Drove in a run in that wacky second inning with a ground ball double just inside the third base bag. And then started the 3-run rally in the 7th when he pushed a bunt past pitcher Guillermo Mota. And Valentin was unable to get to in time to throw him out. So Martin, a 2-out base runner, and Delgado holding him on. And Glavine to that high set delivers. Fastball on the inside corner, strike 1. Anderson, a former Met, has been the most prolific pinch hitter in baseball over the last couple of years. Served the Mets so well in that role in 2005. One particularly memorable hit from Marlin here at Shea Stadium. The 0-1 fastball of the knees for a call, strike two. That was an inside-the-park home run against the Angels in an interleague game, which tied the score in the ninth inning. Eventually, Cliff Floyd won the game with an extra innings home run. No score, 2 out, top of the second. Russell Martin at first, Delgado holding. The count 0-2 to Marlon Anderson. Now Glavine ready. The 0-2 pitch. Change-up hit right back to the mound. Glavine to one knee has it and throws to first in time. Side retires. No runs, no hits. A walk, one left. Middle of the second, it's the Dodgers nothing, the Mets nothing. On the WFAN Mets Radio Network. We go to the last of the second with no score here at Shea. Carlos Delgado, who had a huge first ever postseason game yesterday, steps in against Hong Chi Kuo. And the first pitch, a fastball upstairs, 1-0. All Carlos did was go 4 for 5 with a home run. The 5th player in Major League history to get 4 or more hits in his first postseason game with a home run. And he hits the 1-0 in the air down the left field line. That goes foul. And again, the wind really taking that ball from right to left right now. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike. The other players in Major League history with 4 or more hits and at least a home run in his first career postseason game, Mel Ott, Joe Medwick, Luis Alicea, and Todd Walker. Now the 1-1, and a fastball hit in the air, shallow center, coming on lofted, still coming, it's going to fall in for a base hit. Delgado turns first and holds on, and the Mets have their first hit of the game, a leadoff single here in the second for Carlos Delgado.
Howie, I think in every playoff game, whether it be the divisional series, the championship series, or the World Series, a team needs one guy to make it a normal game. What I mean by that is they need a base hit, or they need a diving play. They need something that would be a normal situation in an everyday game to happen. And maybe that base hit is what frees the Mets up even in this ball game. But I also think that David Wright is the key to the Mets' success against left-handers, if only because he was the best hitter against lefties through July and struggled to a 200 clip the last 2 months.
He went 2 for 4 yesterday, and the first pitch to David. Low inside, a slider, 1-0. Now the infield presents a big hole on the right side because the second baseman, Jeff Kent, is shading well over towards the bag. The outfield, a step or two the other way against Wright. Now Kuo from the set delivers 1-0. Fastball swung on and missed. And Kuo just blew that one by him. 91-mile-an-hour fastball, but as Willie Randolph was saying before the game, he pitched up in the zone quite often with late zip on that fastball, and the Mets did not pick it up very well back in September. Now Kuo with a 1-1, and a fastball on the outside corner, strike 2. 1-2 to David Wright. The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by Foxwoods Resort Casino, the wonder of it all in Mystic Country, Connecticut. 2 games today. The Tigers even the series with the Yankees at 1 apiece, winning 4-3 at Yankee Stadium. Now the 1-2 pitch to Wright. Fastball foul back to the screen. Carlos Guillen and Johnny Damon had home runs. Damon's a 3-run homer in the 4th. Accounted for all of the Yankees scoring. Jamie Walker won it in relief. Mike Messina took the loss. Todd Jones the save. And the Cardinals now lead the Padres 2-0. They won their second game in San Diego today, 2-0. Now the 1-2 to Wright, and a slider inside, ball 2. Jeff Weaver pitched very effectively along with Randy Flores, Josh Kinney, Tyler Johnson, and Adam Wainwright, who's done a good job closing in place of Jason Isringhausen in tandem with Braden Looper. Looper did not get in today. That was a combined 4-hitter. Weaver got the win. Now the 2-2 pitch, and a foul back to the screen. The other American League series sees Oakland leading Minnesota 2-0. That series will resume in Oakland tomorrow, with the A's in position to complete the sweep at home. So 2-2 to Wright, no score. Delgado, hands on his hips, being held on at first by Garcia Parra. Wind now appears to be blowing in. The 2-2 to Wright. Fastball on the inside corner, strike 3 call. And Kuo throws David with a heater right on the inside edge. 1 man out. And that'll bring up Cliff Floyd. Now the Mets present a different look at this stage in their batting order against Kuo than they did back on September 8th. The 6, 7, and 8 hitters today are all different. Floyd did not play in that game. 6, 7, and 8 were Sean Green, Chris Woodward, and Lastings Milledge. First pitch to Cliff. Fastball down the middle for a called strike one. And tonight it's Floyd, Valentin, and Chavez. Hong-Chi Kuo has made it back from 2 different Tommy John surgeries. Time called at home plate now by Floyd. First injured his arm pitching in the very first game of the 2000 season. Struck out 7 of the first 10 batters he faced, and then came the elbow problems. Slider low, 1 ball and 1 strike to Floyd. He really spent most of the next 5 years out treating that elbow. Pitched only 19 innings in 2001. Had a cleanup operation in 2002 after the first Tommy John surgery. And then the following spring had another Tommy John. The 1-1. Fastball in at the knees. A call, strike 2, and Cliff didn't think so. I think he thought that ball was down in the count of ball and 2 strikes.
Well, Ted Barrett's strike zone in these first 2 innings has been a little wide toward the inner half of the plate and also down below the knees, but he's establishing himself these 2 innings, so it may pay off for Glavine if he's a little wide on the outer edge of the plate later on.
Valentin waits on deck. Delgado a slow runner at first, not with a big lead. Now the 1-2 to Floyd, hit off the end of the bat, a foul ball on the ground down the third base side. So it's still 1-2. Cliff was his usually hysterical self during the pregame press conference. One writer asked him a generic question about his feelings about the wild card, a topic that we discussed late in the regular season. The question was, and I didn't ask it, by the way, should the wild card have a tougher road through the playoffs?
Ask it, though.
Well, no, but I appreciated someone else's support. Anyway, somebody asked that question of Cliff. Do you think the wild card should have a tougher road through the postseason? Cliff says, that's way over my head, boss. I'm just trying to win a World Series here. The Mets still have a long ways to go to get there. Leading this series 1-0, the division series. Now Cliff ready, and the 1-2 hit in the air foul into the seats behind third. There is no funnier person in that Mets clubhouse than Cliff Floyd.
Well, I think also the length of his press conference should tell you something about how engaging he is, because Julio Lugo did not have anywhere near the length press conference that Cliff Floyd had.
That got a little scary because Lugo goes in there and nobody had anything to ask him at first. That could have been embarrassing. Now the 1-2 to Floyd, and it's hit in the air, foul into the seats behind third once again. Cliff had a late swing there, and the mid-hitters do appear to be having trouble picking up the late movement, particularly on the fastball from Kuo. That last one was at 93. Even Delgado's was a late hit up towards the end of the bat that he dunked in front of the center fielder, Kenny Lofton. So 1-2 to Floyd. Now the pitch, and a slider low outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Cliff.
Well, Cliff said his approach against Hong-Chi Kuo was somewhat simple. He said that he wanted to simplify things, but he also said, I'm going up there hoping that he makes a mistake. It makes a mistake early in the count that I could take advantage of. He said that's what happens when you have trouble against certain pitchers. You just hope and look for a mistake, because there is going to be a mistake eventually in one of his at-bats.
Now the 2-2. And a bouncing ball foul down the first base side. Garcia Parra reaching across the bag, not able to come up with it. So Floyd, who only hit 179 against lefties during the season, that's way below his usual standard, because Cliff has generally hit left-handers well enough over the course of his career. But Floyd having a pretty good at-bat here against Hong-Chi Kuo, who was up and down with the Dodgers this year, made the opening day roster, went down to AAA at the end of April, called up on June 4th, sent back down a month later, and in July they converted him back to a starter. The 2-2 pitch and a fastball fouled back upstairs again behind home plate. A good at-bat here for Cliff.
Well, good at-bat, Howie, because I think, and you never know what's going to happen with this next pitch, but he's at least running the number of pitches up, which means that Kuo, a youngster at 25, but somewhat seasoned, might make that mistake that we talked about.
Giving everybody else on the ball club an opportunity to get a deeper and somewhat more in-depth look at Quo's assortment. Floyd was talking about that too before the game. Driving around with his father yesterday, talking about how Delgado keeps a book and other guys are on the bench watching what the pitcher does, talking about tendencies, and Cliff says, all I do is drink water and eat seeds. 2-2 pitch, low, ball 3. Cliff has run it full.
And he said that as he was driving and as he was talking to his dad, it ran through his mind that his dad was probably sitting there thinking, why is my son as smart as those guys are?
Yeah, but he's funnier. And that counts for something. Well, I would kind of doubt Delgado's going to be running here 3-2. Quo, a strikeout pitcher. Floyd will strike out. Delgado not fast at all. He doesn't run, and the payoff pitch swung on and missed, strike 3. And a good thing, too, that Delgado wasn't running, as Quo just buzzed it by Cliff Floyd for the second out. And the third strikeout recorded by Quo.
And for Cliff, he swung at ball 4 there. That was a pitch that was inside and tight. It had some good movement on it. It didn't move, though, the way Quo wanted it to move, and Cliff looked like he had designs from the get-go that he was going to swing at that pitch.
So now Jose Valentin. Valentin really struggled at the end of the year, especially batting right-handed against the lefties. First pitch, fastball, a little bit high, 1-0. Valentin was just 2 for his last 28 against left-hand pitching, and overall finished just 10 for 53. And that includes 3 hits in the last game of the season against Washington. Andy Chavez waiting on deck. Now the 1-0. And a changeup high. Throw down to first. Delgado dives back in. Russell Martin, the catcher, very aggressive, throwing in behind the runner. With the count 2-0 on Valentin. Visit the official online shop of the Mets at Mets.com. They've got the largest selection of authentic postseason gear, so go to Mets.com for more details. No score, 2 out last of the second. Delgado at first, 2-0 to Jose Valentin. Now Quo deals, and a slider low, ball 3. Oh, you got to figure Valentin will take at least 1 strike here. Andy Chavez on deck has hit left-handers very well this season. Now Quo delivers 3-0 and a fastball right down the middle. Valentin taking all the way. It's 3-1. Look at the flags right now, and they're going every which way. Occasionally there's a mild breeze blowing in. It really hasn't been an issue of the ball blowing in, but more often than not, it's been blowing across from right to left. Now the 3-1, and Valentin takes a slider for a called strike 2. Quo on 3-1 threw him a slider and got it over. And now Delgado will have an automatic start at first base with 2 men away. Scoreless game here in the last of the second. The outfield very deep, in particular Marlon Anderson in left field. So Delgado off and running. The payoff pitch hit hard to short, grabbed at the waist by Furcal, side retired. Soft liner by Valentin. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left to the end of 2. No score on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. We head to the 3rd inning of a scoreless game here at Shea with Tom McCarthy.
All right, Howie. Well, Tom Glavine so far has allowed 1 base runner, a walk to Russell Martin. He'll start things off against Julio Lugo here in the top of the 3rd. He's our 15th batter of the game. And the first pitch from Tom Glavine. Fastball outside. It's 1-0. Geico wants you to know that a 15-minute phone call could save you 15% or more in your car insurance. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. Lugo finished up the regular season with a .219 average with the Dodgers. Takes a changeup for a strike high, and the count is 1-1. Now, he did hit well for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays before the trade to Los Angeles. In fact, he hit over 300. Here's the 1-1 from Glavine. Changeup hit on the ground toward third. Picked up by David Wright on the edge of the infield grass. He throws to first. And quickly one set aside here in the 3rd inning. Our contestant in the Time Warner Cable Triple Play contest is James Tubola from Catskill. If the Mets turn a triple play in tonight's game, James will win $10,000. And if James is a Time Warner Cable customer, he will also receive triple play service free for 1 year. To enter, log on to WFAN.com. Hong-Chi Kuo is the batter. The left-hander waits the first pitch. Popped up, 3rd base side, foul territory, right over toward the camera well. And it goes back into the seats and out of play. And the count is 0-1. Hong-Chi Kuo hit 125 in limited time with the Dodgers during the regular season. He was just 1 for 8 Again, he's a left-handed hitter against the left-hander Tom Glavine. The outfield is playing awfully shallow for him. The 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball. That's called a strike on the outside corner, so it's 0-2. Glavine so far has mixed up his changeup with his fastball very nicely. He's got his signs. Here's the 2-strike pitch to Quo. Swing and a miss at a curveball, and Quo is down on strikes. And there's the second out of the inning. First strikeout for Glavine. And with 2 men down, we head back to the top of the order for Rafael Furcal. Hey, folks, that Time Warner triple play deal that we talked about is a great deal. You get all 3 services for one low price. That's digital phone, digital cable, and internet. And you only have 1 bill to pay. Time Warner Cable has got it right, making everything so user-friendly and simple. Furcal is 0 for 1. He bounced out to shortstop to start the ball game. He went after a changeup from Glavine in the first pitch here. Fastball taken for a strike along the black of the outside corner. So it's 0-1. Furcal, a switch hitter who finished up the regular season with a .300 batting average and 15 home runs. As the corners pinch in, the 0-1. Fastball outside, it's 1-1. And if you recall, when Glavine faced the Dodgers out at Dodger Stadium earlier this year, he did pick up the win, but Furcal hit 2 home runs against him. LaDuca sets up outside, the 1-1. Fastball down, it's 2-1. Rafael Furcal began the year with a .198 batting average in the first month of the season, but then really turned it on. LaDuca sets up inside this time, the 2-1. Swing and a fly ball toward left center field. Not that deep. Beltran hovers over, and he makes the catch. And it's a 1-2-3 third inning for Tom Glavine. He's 1 time through the lineup. Very effective so far for Glavine. We head to the bottom of the third. No score on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Bottom of the third, no score. Andy Chavez drags the bunt up the right side. It's off the glove of Hong-Chi Kuo, and Chavez is going to be safe at first. And the Mets have their second base hit of the night. And Andy Chavez gets things started here in the bottom of the third inning. So he's on first as Tom Glavine steps to the plate. Let's pause 10 seconds and allow our stations to identify themselves on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Yankees lose to the Tigers. That series is tied at 1. Starting the third period at the Garden, the Rangers lead the Capitals 3-1. Steve Summers follows the Mets on WFAN New York.
Along with Howie Rhodes, I'm Tom McCarthy. Bottom of the third inning. Andy Chavez has just reached on a bunt single. A smart play, bunting it to the first base side. Quo was the only one that was there to try to field it, and it hit off the edge of his glove, and he overran it. So Chavez leads off first. Glavine is at the plate. He squares, and he bunts the ball in the air behind home plate and out of play.
I think, Tom, even if Quo had fielded that ball cleanly, Chavez probably would have had a hit because Garcia Parra had committed towards the ball. Kent, the second baseman, was nowhere to be found, and so Garcia Parra had started to backpedal towards the bag, but with Chavez's speed moving straight ahead, I think he beat Garcia Parra to the bag easily, even if Quo had come up with it.
I agree with you, Howie. Quo thought about running right to the bag or out at Chavez, but there was no way at 237 pounds that Quo was going to be able to track down Andy Chavez. So 0-1 the count to Tom Glavine. Quo just threw over to first base, and Chavez got back standing. Third baseman Julio Lugo plays way in on the grass. Glavine squares. The toss goes over to first again. Chavez is back standing. Hong-Chi Kuo works from the stretch with runners on like every other pitcher, but he actually works from the stretch all the time. Just something that he's used to now after being a reliever. The 0-1, Glavine squares, bunts it in the air off the third base side. It's foul. It drops just near the logo on the third base side for the NL Divisional Series. And now Glavine's in the hole 0-2, and let's face it, Kuo is not the easiest guy to hit, but he's also not the easiest guy to bunt against.
And Glavine by far is the best bunting pitcher the Mets have. Executed 10 successful sacrifices this year. He's one of the best in the league.
Well, I think he's got to go after it again here, even though the count is no balls and 2 strikes.
I agree.
Chavez takes his lead off first. Again, Kuo is ready. And a throw over to first base. This time Glavine did not square, but I think he read the fact that Kuo was going to toss over to first. So no score, bottom of the third inning. The Mets have a base runner. Their second base hit of the night. And the count 0-2 on Tom Glavine. Kuo ready, Glavine squares, and he bunts at the ball and then pulls the bat head back. And they appeal to the third base umpire.
I think the Mets caught a break there, Tom.
Yeah, I think they did too.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, I agree with you. I mean, Glavine had the bat head down, and it looked as if he dropped it down in the zone and then pulled it back. But the third base umpire, in this case Mike Winters, said that he did pull it back and didn't offer at it. So it's 1-2. Glavine chokes up on the bat handle. Quo looks over at first. And the pitch, Glavine squares, and the ball goes right by Glavine's head all the way to the backstop. And Chavez is going to go up to second base. A wild pitch, just the third of the year for Quo. That buzzed the tower. Omar Garcia-Parra has a few words with Ted Barrett, the home plate umpire. I'm not sure what. But, man, that ball was quick on top of Tom Glavine.
Well, now the question is, do you keep the bunt on? And again, I think Glavine is in a position where it is so tough to hit Quo, particularly from a left-handed perspective. I think you still try to bunt Chavez and get him over to third now.
And Lugo is back a little bit at third base, but still I think that's where Glavine wants the ball to go. Chavez leads off second. Glavine not squaring, takes the pitch down and away. And the count is 3 balls and 2 strikes. And now the crowd comes to their feet. They've got the pitcher, Tom Glavine, with the count 3-2 and a runner in scoring position. The Mets and the Dodgers scoreless here at the bottom of the third inning. The outfield is shallow. The infield is back with the exception of Garcia-Parra and Lugo. They're even with the bags at first and third. Glavine squares and then slaps at the ball right in front of the plate. Martin picks it up, looks at third, throws to first, and Glavine with a swinging bunt moves the runner over. The putout goes 2-3, and the Mets have a runner 90 feet away with one man down here in the third.
I think the only thing Glavine would have wanted to have done differently, if in fact that was a bunt, never mind a full swing, was just get it maybe another 2 and 3 or 3 feet either out in front of the plate or over the third base side a little bit, perhaps to entice Lugo, but that's about as productive an out as Glavine could have made between the wild pitch and the little 3-foot swinging bunt.
So now a runner on third. The infield will play back with the exception of Lugo, the third baseman. He's right at the edge of the cutout for Jose Reyes. Reyes 0 for 1, the pitch. Take it inside, a slider. It's 1-0. Now the key here for Reyes is just to put the bat on the ball because it looks like the Dodgers are going to concede the run to get the out. With Chavez's speed, a ball to Percal or Kent should produce that run. Quo is ready, looks over at third, the 1-0. Line drive foul just past Manny Acta in the third base coach's box. And it evens up the count 1-1. Well, this is the second time through the lineup for the Mets hitters. And we'll see if there's any dividends that were paid going through it the first time against Hong-Chi Quo. Reyes with a few practice swings. He's ready. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Quo. Chops foul toward the Dodgers dugout, and the count is 1-2.
Again, not a good swing. Reyes, who lunged for a third strike on his first time at bat, getting a weak swing at a slider. And he has had Reyes badly fooled a couple of times already in this game.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in with the slider again here with the count 1-2. Reyes chokes up with the bat handle just a little bit. Chavez leads off third. Quo is ready, the 1-2 pitch. Line drive foul over the first base side and into the seats. And the count holds 1-2. The ball was hit pretty sharply off the bat of Jose Reyes. And it hopped into the crowd, and then looks like it hopped off a railing in the crowd as well. Well, some of the 56,000 plus on their feet down the left and right field lines with a runner on third and one man down here in the home third inning. The 1-2 pitch again. Swing and a foul ball back on top of the screen behind home plate. The count holds 1-2. Howie, with all the troubles the Mets have had against left-handers, the guys that they need to lean on, and Paul LaDuca said this even yesterday, are Reyes, LaDuca, even Beltran, and David Wright. The guys that are right-handed hitters or switch hitters. The 1-2 pitch. Chopper foul toward the Dodgers dugout. And on that pitch, Percal, the shortstop, came charging in. So well, Chavez has got to be on his toes if that happens, if there's a ball that hits the shortstop.
And at least what Reyes and a couple of others before him are accomplishing, starting to run the pitch count up now on Quo. He's at 50. The Dodgers only have one left-hander in the bullpen, Mark Hendricks. And even though the Dodger bullpen has been good, the Mets would like to get into it at some point before the game goes too long.
Again, the 1-2 pitch. Slider inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Paul LaDuca does wait on deck. And Hong-Chi Quo takes a walk behind the mound. dusting off that NY logo, which is behind the pitcher's mound. And now he toes the rubber once again. The 25-year-old gets his signs from Russell Martin. And now the 2-2 pitch to Reyes. Slider chopped on the ground towards shortstop. Chavez comes toward the plate. It's bobbled by Percal. Throw is low to first in time to get Reyes. But the Mets take a 1-0 lead. Chavez crosses the plate. It's an RBI for Reyes, and he nearly beat it out.
Percal made an excellent play, even though in charging the ball he didn't come up with it cleanly. But remember one thing about Rafael Percal. He has an outstanding arm, and he was helped by the fact that Reyes, batting right-handed, lunged for a pitch away, so he didn't have his balance initially coming out of the box. And because he was running from the right side, between that and the strength of Percal's arm, that's how he was able to get Jose Reyes.
So now Paul LaDuca, the batter, with 2 men down. And the first pitch to LaDuca, fastball down low. It's 1-0. I thought for a moment that Percal wanted to come to the plate, and that may have caused him to bobble that ball. But it was also an in-between hop as well. LaDuca's 0 for 1. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Hit in the air foul behind home plate into the first couple rows of the mezzanine. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. So 1-0 Mets, thanks to a bunt single, a wild pitch, a swinging bunt, and a ground out. That's what Endy Chavez can do. If you get him on base, he can help manufacture a run, and he did it here in the third. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Quo. Fastball up high. It's 2-1. LaDuca, during the regular season, hit .336 against lefties. And he was pretty consistent from start to finish against lefties. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Slider down low, 3-1. Hong-Chi Quo seems to be rushing a little bit more as he gets deeper into this game. His pitch count right now is rising, and we tell you that only because this is a guy who's coming back from 2 Tommy John surgeries. And he's thrown 56 pitches so far in the game. The 3-1 to LaDuca. Hit in the air towards center field. It's pretty well hit. Lofton goes back, looks toward the infield, reaches out. He can't get it. And it's a 1-hopper over the wall. A ground rule double for Paul LaDuca. And he's aboard with 2 men down. I'm not sure why Kenny Lofton looked back toward the infield as he went back after that ball. Not that he would have made the play, but he reached out at the last moment, and it went past his glove. And then off the warning track and over the center field fence, just to the left of the home run apple. And LaDuca's in scoring position, and Rick Honeycutt, the pitching coach for the Dodgers, who's done such a good job with his staff this year, heads out to the mound for a conversation with Hong-Chi Quo. Well, Kenny Lofton, who is a 4-time Gold Glove winner in center field, but that was a long time ago.
One other thing about Lofton worth noting, he does not have a good throwing arm, nor does Marlon Anderson in left field. J.D. Drew is not bad, but not Vladimir Guerrero good either. So, even though LaDuca is not a fast runner, not strong arms either in left or center for the Dodgers.
So here's Beltran with a runner on second base. 1-0 Mets, and the pitch chopped on the ground foul past Maniacta. And the count is 0-1. Beltran popped out to Nomar Garcia-Parra his only time up. But he's 0 for 1. And already Aaron Seeley is up and loosening in the bullpen for the Dodgers. It was going to be either Seeley or Topko that would be brought in early by Grady Little if Quo ran into trouble. Now the 0-1 pitch to Beltran. Hit on the ground foul again. A changeup just over the head of Maniacta up the third base line. And it's 0-2.
Topko's a guy who has had some effective stretches in his career as a starter, but when the Dodgers moved him to the bullpen earlier this year, he seemed to find a pretty good spot. And he has been very, very effective out of the bullpen, so they won't wait too long before going to him either, if in fact he should be up at some point.
In fact, a lot of folks thought he should have been the guy that came in yesterday instead of Brad Penny. Well, ready again. Here's the 2-strike pitch. Fastball inside and tight. It's 1-2.
Tom, I'm not totally convinced that if this series were to go to a 4th game that he still might not start that game.
Brad Penny?
No, Brett Tomko.
Oh, well,
that's just a guess, but you know the Mets handled Penny all right yesterday, and he's had that back problem, and if there's any concern that he can't go, I would think Tomko would be the guy to get it.
LaDuca leads off second. The 1-2 pitch to Beltran. Swing and a miss and a slider down and away, and Carlos Beltran is down on strikes, and the third inning comes to a close. But the Mets get a run on 2 base hits. They strand one We head to the fourth. It's 1-0 New York on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Sports Radio 66 WFAN New York.
Top of the fourth inning, the Mets are on top 1-0. Kenny Lofton, Nomar Garciaparra, and Jeff Kent for the Dodgers against Tom Glavine. David Wright plays in on the grass at third for Lofton. And the first pitch, taken outside, it's 1-0. Lofton lined a one hopper to the glove side of David Wright his only time up that Wright was able to flag down. He's 0 for 1. And the 1-0 pitch from Glavine. Change up, hit in the air, softly toward left field. Cliff Floyd got a late start, but then he angled over toward the gap, and he makes the catch. There's one man down. Mets Baseball is brought to you by RE/MAX of New York. Is your real estate agent only showing you the listings they want you to see? Visit RE/MAXNY.com now and see all the listings in New York State. Nobody in the world sells more real estate than RE/MAX. With one man down, Nomar Garciaparra is the batter. He's 0 for 1. He flied out to Andy Chavez his only time up. Glavine kicks and deals and distributes the first pitch. Change-up line off the glove of a diving David Wright, picked up by Reyes, and he'll hold on to the baseball. And Garciaparra is safe at first, but he is limping up the right field line. Garciaparra has been banged up all season long with a whole variety of injuries, from a quad to a groin injury, and he is laboring as he walks past Mariano Duncan and back to the first base bag.
Yeah, he took one unnatural step about 3/4 of the way down the line. And then as he ran through the bag, he started flexing, and he's still not comfortable. Now he is walking slowly up the first base line, trying to get that leg stretched out and comfortable. He's doing a little jogging in place right now, and it appears he's going to stay in the game, but it's just another thing to keep in mind with all the aches and pains that he's had.
One of the guys that was kept on the roster by the Dodgers, James Loney, is actually stretching in the dugout right now, and he was kept on the roster because of the injuries that Nomar has sustained over the last couple of months. So here's Jeff Kent with one man down and a runner on first, and the first pitch to Kent. Fastball inside, it's 1-0. Kent flied out to center field his only time up, so he's 0 for 1. So that's lead at 1-0 here at the top of the fourth inning. And the Dodgers just picked up their first base hit of the night against Tom Glavine. Infield plays for 2, the 1-0 pitch. Fastball high, it's 2-0.
Tom, when I say unnatural step that Garciaparra took, all that means is that as he got about 3/4 of the way down the line, he sort of pulled up in mid-stride and did not maintain a steady stride, and it was there you could see that something was bothering him. At least that was the first indication.
Delgado holds him on, the 2-0 pitch. Change up on the outside corner for a strike. It's 2-1. Well, Nomar at one point in his career was actually a pretty good base stealer for the Boston Red Sox, but then he had a knee injury which slowed him down. With the Cubs, he had a groin injury which slowed him down. And this year he has had really upper body injuries, but also that groin has been nagging as well. 2-1 pitch to Kent. Hit in the air foul over the first base dugout, not a play. And the count is 2-2. Keeping up with the stats of the price of a cup of coffee lately, the New York Board of Trade is all the play-by-play. Log on to NYBOT.com to find out what's hot and what's not on New York's original futures exchange, where the world trades coffee and a whole lot more. 2-2 the count to Jeff Kent. Now Glavine steps off as Kent asks for time. Jeff Kent for his career, 345 home runs. The outfield is straight away. Glavine to the high set. Looks over at first, the 2-2. Swing and a fly ball over the first base dugout. Out of play. The count holds 2-2. Kent has bounced around from one team to another, whether it be the Blue Jays, the Mets, the Cleveland Indians, the Giants, the Astros, the LA Dodgers. And everywhere he has gone, with maybe the exception of the early part of his career with the Mets, he has been an offensive force at second base. The 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball, line toward left field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. Floyd will take it on a few hops. Nomar slowly moves into second base. And the Dodgers now have runners on first and second with a one-man down. And that'll bring J.D. Drew to the plate. Drew bounced out to shortstop his only time up. But I'm not sure if Garciaparra is going to play much longer in this game. I mean, getting to second base, he seemed to be laboring, just trying to get to that bag.
You would think if there's a significant question in the Dodger dugout, They get him out of there now, considering that he might have to come around to try to score on a hit to the outfield.
J.D. Drew finished up the year with 100 RBIs for the Dodgers. The first pitch to him. Change up, take it for a strike along the knees on the outside corner. And the count is 0-1. The 100 RBIs for J.D. Drew led the Dodgers this year. And he played in the most games this year than he's ever played in during the course of a season. Glavine looks back at second, the 0-1. Swung on and missed. The fastball tied him up inside. It's 0-2. J.D. Drew, the former #1 pick of the Philadelphia Phillies, then the St. Louis Cardinals a year later. He's down in the count, 0-2, with runners on first and second, and one man down here in the fourth inning. That's lead at 1-0. The two-strike pitch. Swing and a foul ball back behind home plate. And he was out in front, and the count holds 2 strikes. And Howie, what we've seen in the second half of the year, that the second time through the lineup for Glavine is extremely important to see if he can establish his other pitches and continue to keep the opposition off balance. Right after the All-Star break, that's when he struggled. Again, the two-strike pitch. Fastball on the outside corner, called strike 3. And J.D. Drew was frozen by Tom Glavine. An 86-mile-an-hour fastball that coated the black. And there's the second out here in the fourth inning. So we talked about before with Ted Barrett, the home plate umpire. If he gives the outer part of the plate to both pitchers, I think it's going to benefit Tom Glavine more than Hong-Chi Kuo. But still a tough hitter to get, and Russell Martin, a rookie who hit .290 with runners in scoring position during the regular season. And he has gradually moved up the lineup for the Dodgers over the last couple of months. The pitch from Glavine. Fastball in tight. It's 1-0. It's amazing to think of a couple of guys that the Dodgers have now in their lineup and on their roster that were basically in the minor leagues when this season began. And Russell Martin, one of those guys, because Deoner Navarro was their starting catcher early on this year. Runners lead off first and second, the 1-0. Change up down and away. It's 2-0. And with Navarro, the former Yankee prospect, went down with an injury, Russell Martin was inserted as the everyday catcher, and boy, did he thrive. In a year when rookies have thrived in the National League, he's had himself a solid season. The 2-0 pitch. Outside, ball 3. And Glavine, as he blows on his pitching hand and moistens his fingers, will gather himself one more time with the count 3-0 to Russell Martin. Garcia Parra's on second, Kent's on first. The 3-0 pitch. Fastball, he got the green light, he hit it in the air toward right center field. Carlos Beltran wanders over, calls everybody off, makes the catch, and thought it was one out. He started to toss to the infield, but that is the final out here in the fourth inning. For the Dodgers, no runs, 2 hits, 2 men left. We play 3.5. It's 1-0 New York on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. In the bottom of the third inning, and now they go to work here in the fourth against Kuo. Delgado's 1 for 1. He singled his only time up, and the pitch to him. Slider, take it for a strike on the inside corner. And it's no balls and 1 strike. Kuo works from the stretch at all times. He's had a good fastball tonight and a good slider as well. The 0-1 pitch, fastball outside. It's 1-1.
The wind for now has changed direction. It's beginning to blow in from left. And that's not necessarily a good thing when you got a power hitter like Delgado in the box, although he's strong enough to hit one through any wind.
1-1 pitch, swing and a miss with a fastball inside, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, the thing about Shea, sorry Tom, particularly at this time of year, circular winds that will change direction often.
And I think as we get deeper even into this month, it gets more and more drastic. The 1-2 pitch to Delgado. Fastball hit in the air, left side. A few steps back onto the outfield grass for call. Now charges in on the infield dirt as the wind brought it back. And there's 1 man down. So with 1 man down, it brings David Wright to the plate. The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by UPS. What can Brown do for you? 2 games earlier today, 1 at the stadium in the Bronx. They were rained out last night. The Detroit Tigers got a run in the 7th inning and then hung on and defeated the Yankees 4-3. Jamie Walker, Joel Zumaya, and Todd Jones, the relievers for Justin Verlander, did an outstanding job against the Yankees. Walker got the win. Carlos Guillen hit a home run. David Wright takes a fastball for strike 1, so it's 0-1. Meanwhile, the Cardinals got 2 runs in the 4th inning That's all they needed to defeat the Padres 2-zip out in San Diego. 0-1 pitch, slider inside. It's 1-1. So now the Cardinals are up 2-0 with an off day tomorrow. The Yankees and the Tigers are even at 1, and they'll play in Detroit tomorrow. The A's will play the Twins tomorrow in Oakland. 1-1 to right, swing and a miss. Actually, he may have gotten a piece of it, and he did, as it goes back toward the backstop. So the National League is off tomorrow. The Mets will travel to L.A., where they'll play on Saturday. The Padres will travel to St. Louis, where they'll play the Cardinals on Saturday as well. 1-2 the count to right with the infield back. The pitch, fastball up high. It's 2-2. Well, David went down looking on strikes his only time up, so he's 0 for 1. As we talked about before, with the struggles the Mets have had against lefties, I mean, it's accentuated because David has struggled so much in August and September. 2-2 pitch, swing, and a line drive foul down the left field line into the seats. The count holds 2-2. I mean, think about the numbers that David put up, Howie, in the first half of the year. He was hitting .436 against lefties on June 22nd. He was hitting .367 on July 30th. But since that time, he's hitting an even .200 against lefties. Well, is ready, the 2-2. Swing and a fly ball toward deep right field. J.D. Drew going back to the warning track to the wall. He jumps and makes the catch as he slams into the wall. David Wright gave it a drive, but J.D. Drew was able to pull it in as he gauged where he was on the warning track. And at the last moment, he jumped to grab that one. It would not have gone out, but Drew was able to make that grab toward the top of the fence for the second out. And with 2 men down, it brings Cliff Floyd to the plate. Floyd is 0 for 1. He struck out swinging his only time up. And the pitch to him. Swing and a fly ball toward deep right center field. Drew goes back to the wall, sizes it up, makes the catch right at the base of the wall as the wind brought it back. And Cliff Floyd is retired to finish off the 4th inning. Boy, that looked good off the bat of Cliff Floyd, but it's a 1-2-3 4th inning for Hong-Chi Kuo. We head to the 5th. It's 1-0 New York. Gary Cohen will join Howie Rose as we get to the 5th inning on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Marlon Anderson takes a strike from Tom Glavine as we start the 5th inning. It's 1-0 New York. Howie Rose joined by Gary Cohen here in the 5th inning. And the 0-1 to Anderson. There's a swing and a miss and a change-up in the count, 0-2. Anderson hit back to the box his first time up.
Thanks for inviting me back, Howie.
Oh, why not?
Had a good time.
Everything went fine yesterday. You're less nervous today?
No conflagrations yesterday. The world didn't end.
Oh, great. I got to get the dictionary out again. Thought it was safe to leave it home. 0-2 fastball downstairs to Anderson, 1-2.
Howie, were you guys as surprised as we were that Lofton and Anderson were both left in the lineup by Grady Little tonight against Glavine?
Well, particularly against the left-hander. Lofton did not look good yesterday against John Maine and others. And obviously you don't have arms in left or center with those two. The 1-2 and a breaking ball, dribbled foul over by the Mets dugout.
Well, it goes back to a roster decision the Dodgers made to leave Matt Kemp off the roster so that your only right-handed alternative for either one of those guys is Jason Repko, who hasn't hit very much this year, but at least he's a quality defensive outfielder.
That's the thing with Lofton that's kind of sad to watch. A guy who was a multiple Gold Glove winner. He looked confused on that ball LaDuca hit, got turned around the wrong way. Now the 1-2 pitch and a fastball hit off the end of the bat, a foul ball back to the backstop.
Now, the funny thing about Lofton is even when he won Gold Gloves with Cleveland in his heyday, he didn't take great roots to the ball, but he had the speed back then to make up for his mistakes, much like Bernie Williams, you know, at the beginning of his career when he was considered at least a passable outfielder, but as you slow down, it's hard to make up for that.
1-2 to Anderson. Glavine kicks and delivers, change up downstairs, ball 2. Julio Lugo is the on-deck hitter, and then Hong-Chi Kuo. The Dodgers bullpen is quiet, so presumably Kuo will take his turn at bat with the Mets leading 1-0. And at least they have started to run his pitch count up. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Anderson. And a change-up low, ball 3.
Well, if nothing else, the Mets have had some very long at-bats against Kuo. Floyd had that 12-pitch at-bat, which ended poorly on a bad swing and a bad slider, but he did a great job getting to that point, and that serves a purpose in itself.
And then he turned the slider around, and were it not for the wind, the Mets would have a 2-0 lead and maybe still be hitting. Here's the payoff pitch on the way, and Anderson shoots one foul down the third base line. Glavine has thrown 66 pitches to this point, beginning the 5th inning. Working to the bottom third of the Dodgers order, continuing to blow on his hand. And apparently the finger, we wondered about that in the cold weather tonight, has not been too problematic for him. Now Anderson ready, Glavine into the windup, the payoff pitch, hit on the ground to second, charged by Valentine. He's got it, sets and throws in time, one away. Anderson got down the line well. Valentine fired a high throw that Delgado grabbed for the first out.
Well, the one thing you worry about with Glavine as far as that coldness in his finger is concerned is the command of the changeup. But really, other than one that he left up to Jeff Kent for the base hit in the 4th, he's been able to get that changeup with good sink, much as he did in his last start in Washington. It's really been a continuation of that.
And he's throwing a handful of curveballs, not a whole lot. Julio Lugo grounded to third his first time. Hits a changeup on the ground to third, past the diving right, and down the line. He broke his bat in doing so. Floyd up with it. Lugo digging for second, and he'll make it as Floyd bobbles the ball and just now plays it back in. So it's a one-out double for Julio Lugo. A broken bat roller right. It yielded the line and was just about even with a bag. And actually on the edge of the grass as he started. He went to his right to try and grab that. It was just beyond the reach. And so now Hong-Chi Kuo will bat with a tying run at second. Third hit for the Dodgers off of Glavine. Kuo struck out his first time. Let's see if he's trying to bunt here. The first pitch, no. He takes low, a changeup, 1-0. Kuo, a left-hand batter against the left-hand pitcher, Tom Glavine. And Rafael Furcal, a switch hitter, waiting on deck. And the wind, not all that strong right now, but a breeze blowing in. Lugo leads from second. Now the pitch. Change up outside, ball 2. So Glavine behind the opposing pitcher here, 2-0. The Mets bullpen right now is quiet. John Maine yesterday worked into the 5th, which is where Glavine is now. Same spot, 4 1/3. Glavine to that high set, delivers 2-0. And a fastball in for a called strike.
Really, in the rejiggered Mets rotation for this series, the only guy who's going to get slack as far as working himself out of trouble is Glavine. You can't anticipate that Traxel or Perez are going to get any more opportunity to work through troubles than Maine did last night.
2-1 to Kuo. Glavine checks second. Now the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And Kuo had a late, flat-footed swing at that pitch from Glavine. Fastball that he got up to 88 miles an hour, tailing away. So 2-2 with 1 out. The Mets leading 1-0 as the Dodgers bat in the 5th inning here at Shea. The outfield is shallow. Chavez with the best throwing arm in right field. 2-2 pitch hit on the ground to the right side. Big hop for Valentine at second. Throws to first in time to get Kuo as Lugo advances to third. So now 2 men away. And Rafael Furcal will be the batter. Furcal is 0 for 2 in this game. Grounded to short, fly to center. And, you know, even in a 1-0 game, a guy who's got some pop, Furcal hit 15 home runs during the regular season. You can never, ever discount the bunt.
Not only the bunt, but the slug bunt, which he's very, very good at, running up in the box and just taking a little half-cut. Nobody knows that better than Glavine, who played with Furcal for years in Atlanta.
So the infield will be aware. Wright is even with a bag at third. The first pitch and a fastball low, 1-0. And I don't know whether this is Glavine's mindset necessarily, but he has a little wiggle room with Furcal here, with Kenny Lofton, who's hitless in the ball game on deck. In fact, he's hitless in the series, going 0 for 4 yesterday. Lugo dashing down the line from third. Now the 1-0. Furcal ran his hands up to bunt, but takes a change up outside, ball 2.
I think it's the same approach that Glavine took in the last inning against Russell Martin. He had 2 on and 2 out. Even though third base was the open base, pitched very carefully with Marlon Anderson standing on deck, and Martin eventually flying out on a 3-0 pitch.
So 2-0 to Furcal. Let's see if he gets anything near the plate here. Glavine delivers, and it's outside, a change-up, ball 3. Well, the agenda looks to be pretty well set. Don't give Furcal a pitch to hit.
And this is really the leeway that Grady Little has supplied Glavine with tonight by leaving Lofton and Anderson in the lineup.
Lugo's been trying to entice Glavine into a balk by dashing down the line from third. Now the count 3-0 to Furcal. And a fastball nicks the outside corner. So even on 3-0, nothing set to Furcal. 1-0 New York. 3 hits for each team. Infield is back at short and second. Delgado fairly deep at first and off the bag, and Wright even with a bag at third. It'll be a 3-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Fastball on the outer half of the plate. And Furcal late on it, and now the crowd at Shea comes to its feet. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 1-0 New York in the 5th. Lugo at third. The outfield fairly deep. Beltran a step or 2 the other way in center. Glavine to the high set. He's ready. The payoff pitch is inside, ball 4. He went to the changeup 3-2 and missed low. And now the other thing to be aware of with runners at first and third is the speed of Furcal and the possibility that he might break from first, and now LaDuca's going to go out to the mound to talk to Glavine, and they've got to decide on what they want to do if Furcal runs. Do you throw through?
Now remember, in a very similar situation last night in the 7th inning with Nomar Garcia-Parra at the plate and Furcal at first, they let Furcal go, and LaDuca did not make a throw, but Glavine holds runners a little bit better than Guillermo Mota does.
Lofton had a hit taken away by David Wright on a terrific play in the first inning, and then fly to left in the 4th. So runners first and third. First pitch on the way inside with a fastball. And they'll look down to third, and no swing, says third base ump Mike Witters, as Lofton had run his hand up the barrel of the bat as though to bunt. Pulled it back in a hurry and got buzzed by Glavine. The count 1-0. David Wright now plays in on the grass at third. Great speed aboard. Lugo at third, Furcal at first. 1-0 New York. The 1-0 pitch. Swing and a broken bat. Roll it to second. Valentin's got it. Throws to first. In time. Side retired. Glavine works out of it. No runs. 1 hit. No errors. 2 left. Middle of the 5th at Shea. It's the Mets 1, the Dodgers nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. We head to the last of the 5th inning. 1-0 New York. Bottom third of the Mets order against Hong Chi Kuo. His first pitch to Jose Valentin in on the inside corner for a strike. 0-1. Valentin, Chavez, and Glavine due up for New York. Kuo has now thrown 73 pitches. And the Mets have had some pretty good at-bats against him as this game has progressed. The 0-1, fastball in for a called strike 2. Gary, I did not think that was the case in the first inning when the Mets looked a little over-aggressive against him.
Well, I think it's very much a pitcher's kind of a night because of the wind, and the pitchers can afford to be aggressive.
Now the 0-2 to Valentin, low outside, a fastball.
And Kuo survived 2 shots that on a normal night would have been home runs in the last inning. But what's impressed me about Kuo tonight has been his slider. I mean, he's got a great fastball, and frankly, the gun here in the ballpark is getting him at 91 and 92. He seems to be quicker than that.
The 1-2 taken downstairs, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
But he's had a very nasty slider tonight. He's used it to good advantage.
But even what Valentin's doing now is something the Mets have done better after falling behind in counts. They've been more selective than they were certainly in their first game against Kuo and even early in the game tonight. And they have forced him to throw more pitches. Now he's got the count even at 2-2. And it's important to note, again, only one left-hander in that Dodger bullpen looking ahead. 2-2 pitch. And it's high, ball 3, a fastball, so a full count.
But the thing is, despite long at-bats and despite patience, Kuo still hasn't walked anybody tonight, which is very impressive on his part.
Valentin hit a soft line drive to Furcal that was caught his first time up. Wind continuing to blow in. The outfield fairly deep. Lofton a couple of steps the other way. The payoff pitch. Low, ball 4. And how do you like that? Kuo was ahead 0-2, and Valentin worked out a walk. So the Mets get the leadoff man on for the 3rd time in 5 innings. And it'll bring up Endy Chavez. Our contestant tonight in the Top Dog Mortgage home run inning is Max Moran from Staten Island. If a Met hits a home run this inning, Max will receive a $200 gift certificate to Christo's Steakhouse. If you'd like to be a contestant, log on to WFAN.com for more details. So now Chavez with Valentin at first. First pitch, fastball in for a called strike, 0-1. And Brett Tomko, the right-hander, converted from a full-time starter into the bullpen earlier this year, starting to loosen up for the Dodgers. 1-0 New York. The hits even at 3, and Chavez has one of them. A bunt single to start the 3rd. He would score the only run to this point. The 0-1 lined into left field, base hit. Waiting on it is Anderson as Valentin pulls into second. The throw comes into Percal, and Andy Chavez is 2 for 2. And now a great spot because the Mets could try to get Glavine to bunt 2 runners into scoring position. And the entire Dodger infield now, Gary, will come together and discuss how they're going to play it.
And Andy Chavez merely doing what Andy Chavez did the entire 2006 season. Use his speed, first time up with the bunt, go the other way, slapping a base hit to left field behind in the count. And really, that's been the story of Andy's season. And the funny thing about it is he's doing exactly what managers have been trying to get him to do for years, but for some reason under Willie Randolph it kicked in. And Andy Chavez has guaranteed himself a far more significant career than he otherwise would have had by finally buying into the message, and he's made himself an indispensable part of this team.
Now one of the better bunting pitchers in baseball, Glavine, will try and sacrifice 2 runners up. He failed to sacrifice his first time, although runners moved up anyway. He squares, bunts to the third baseman, Lugo. His only play will be to first, in time to Kent covering, and Glavine did it perfectly. Made the third baseman handle the ball, and that moved the runners up. Valentine to third. Chavez to second with 1 out, and Reyes coming up.
Now, no pitcher in big league history has more sacrifice bunts than Tom Glavine, and he did it as he drew it up on the chalkboard. First time up, I think a butcher boy play from to move the runner, this time more conventional thing.
So now the Dodgers have a decision to make. Are they going to walk Reyes here and load him up and see if they can get LaDuca to hit it on the ground? Reyes has been antsy over the first 2 games of this series, and I might question this decision based on how Reyes has looked. They're going to walk him. And Gary, I think you got to question this, if only because of how over-anxious I think Reyes has looked the first 2 games.
I think you're right, Howie, and I think if I were the Dodgers here, I would at least have thrown a couple of sliders in the dirt, maybe, see if you get ahead of the count on Reyes. But, of course, the downside of that is you risk the wild pitch that could bring home a run. Here they bring up LaDuca, who's the Mets' best hitter against lefties all year, but also a double play candidate. So I'm sure all those things factor into Grady Little's decision.
And the other thing is, will it be Crow or Tomko to face LaDuca? Remember, after LaDuca, you've got Beltran, and here comes Grady Little, so apparently that's going to answer that question. Little has not made the sign yet as he crosses the third base line, and he'll wait as long as he can. And now here comes Tomko jogging in from the pen, and that's it. So this call to the bullpen is brought to you by Foxwoods Resort Casino, the wonder of it all in Mystic Country, Connecticut. Foxwoods Resort Casino knows all about great singles and doubles. Book a room online at any of their 3 hotels. Just log on to foxwoods.com. So right-hander Brett Tomko, who started the season in the rotation, moved to the bullpen, pitched in 29 games out of the pen. Bases LaDuca with the bases loaded, 1 out, 1-0 New York in the 5th. First pitch, fastball hit in the air. Deep left field, it'll score a run. It's playable for Anderson. He's under it, and he makes the catch. Tagging and scoring from third is Valentine, and the Mets have a 2-0 lead. LaDuca got a first pitch fastball at 95 miles an hour and hit it well. And again, whether the wind played a role in keeping it in the yard or not remains to be seen, and probably we'll never know, but he put a great swing and got a good part of his bat on that fastball.
Little fastball running in on LaDuca, and he was determined to get that ball in the air. Nothing's going out of the ballpark unless you crank it tonight, but good enough to get a running.
I thought Floyd had his out. Well, now we'll see what happens here with Beltran, because Grady Little might have been gambling on the double play. Here's Beltran and a fastball outside 1-0, because now you get Beltran and Delgado against the right-hander.
And Beltran 6 for 20 against Tomko in his career.
Chavez with great speed at second. Reyes great speed at first. 2 out. The 1-0. Slider inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Tomko overall on the year was 8-7 with a 4.73 earned run average. Remember, the Dodgers lost Eric Gagne for the year early on. Again, his future has to be considered very much in doubt at this point. Now the 2-0. Way upstairs, a fastball, 3-0. Tomko in his career against the Mets is 4-7 with a 5.33 earned run average. 3-0. Will Beltran be swinging? Low outside, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So Delgado will take a shot at widening this 2-0 Met lead.
And this series so far for Carlos Beltran has kind of been a microcosm of his season this year vis-a-vis his season last year. As Rick Honeycutt goes to the mound to talk to Tomko. Last year, 3-0, 3-1. He was consistently swinging at bad pitches. He simply hasn't done it this year. He wound up drawing 95 walks this year in addition to everything else he did, giving Delgado more chances, and I think that's very much a conscious thing on Beltran's part, understanding that he had a legitimate cleanup hitter behind him and one whom he has great respect for, and it's enabled him to be more patient and take the walks when they come.
That's a big thing yesterday because Carlos threw 3 walks and wound up scoring a run. Well, here's where the Mets had problems yesterday, multiplying and adding to their lead because they left 8 men on base over the last 3 innings, leaving the bases loaded a couple of times. In fact, Delgado struck out to leave the bases loaded in the 8th inning against Jonathan Broxton. And now he will face Brett Tomko with the Mets leading 2-0. And great speed all aboard. Chavez at third, Reyes at second, and Beltran at first. Delgado, a left-hand batter. Tomko ready, the first pitch. In for a call, strike, 0-1. And Delgado 4 for 11 with 2 home runs against Tomko. Remember, the Mets hit 10 grand slams this year. The outfield very deep. Tomko to the high, set the 0-1. And a fastball a little bit high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Remember, LaDuca hit the first pitch for the sacrifice fly. And then Tomko walked Beltran on 4 pitches. He's throwing in the mid-90s. That last fastball clocked at 95. David Wright waiting on deck. A 1-1 pitch and a breaking ball hit foul into the seats behind home plate, 1-2. Tomko went away from his fastball there, threw a slider to Delgado, and now advantage Tomko, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Delgado singled off the end of his bat in the 2nd inning. Popped to short in the 4th. Wind continues to blow in. Delgado ready in the box. The 1-2 pitch. Fastball foul straight back. Carlos had a big cut. Manny Acta, the third base coach, going over to say a quick word or two to Wendy Chavez.
When he struck out last night in the 9th against the 8th against Jonathan Broxton, it was on a fastball up. And so Tomko trying to do the same pitching pattern against Delgado here with the bases full.
I'm sure was entered in Delgado's book right afterwards. The 1-2 pitch, breaking ball, whipped foul down the right field line. He got out in front.
And that, by contrast, was a terrible pitching decision by Tomko because he just speeded up Delgado's bat, and it was very fortunate that Carlos pulled that foul.
Slider running in on Delgado, but he got out in front. So Tomko rubs up a new baseball behind the mound. Delgado digging back into the box. David Wright, who often is very fidgety and animated in the on-deck circle. Pretty casual right now. Delgado waits on a 1-2 pitch. Swing and a ground ball to first. Garcia Parra's got it. Takes it to the bag himself. Side retired. So the Mets get 1 on 1 hit. No errors, but they leave the bases loaded. Tom McCarthy will be along to join Gary for the 6th inning. At the end of 5, it's the Mets 2 and the Dodgers nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Sports Radio 66 WFAN New York.
Part of the batting order for the Dodgers as they come up in the 6th inning against Tom Glavine. No more Garcia Parra takes ball 1. Glavine working with a 2-0 lead. He's allowed just 3 hits, and Nomar has 1 of them. He banked 1 off Wright's glove in the 4th. The 1-0. This is low and outside. 1 ball, 1 strike to Nomar, who slides to right in addition to that infield hit. And when Nomar crossed the bag in the 4th inning, he came up a little bit lame, flexing his knee. He has been suffering from all sorts of physical ills. The 1-1, changeup taken low and inside, 2 balls and a strike.
It's amazing, too, Gary, because when he was young with the Red Sox, I mean, he was a very healthy guy. In fact, he didn't get banged up that often, with the exception of hand problems. He had a lot of hand problems through the minor leagues.
But ever since his Red Sox days ended, it's been one thing after another. Now back this way and out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Nomar. Jeff Kent to follow, and then J.D. Drew as the Dodgers try and fight back in the 6th. Mets with a run in the 3rd. on an infield out. And a run in the fifth on a sacrifice fly. Mets have played small ball effectively. Glavine has made it stand up. 2-2 to Nomar. Hit on the ground, weakly to second base. Moving in Valentine to grab the roller. Tosses to Delgado, and Nomar barely running down to first base. And you can tell he is hurting significantly right now.
Yeah, I was surprised that he actually stayed in the ball game. Not because he didn't want to stay in the game, but just because he was laboring so much. Loney, who would most likely get a chance to play first base against right-handers, has been swinging the bat very well. I wondered, though, Gary, what they would have done. Would they have moved Kent to first base and put Lugo at second and put Benavides at third, just so they kept some right-handers in the ball game?
Or you could bring Olmedo Signs in. I know
That's
he's
true.
a big-time defensive liability, but he's a great hitter, especially against left-handers. Well, here's Kent, who's 1 for 2, lined a single to left in the fourth. And he lines another one into left field for a base hit, taken on a hop by Floyd. And so Kent is 2 for 3. So the only two really hard-hit base hits against Glavine in this game have come off the bat of Jeff Kent. 1 out and 1 on. J.D. Drew comes to the plate at the tying run. First we'll pause for station identification on the WFAN Mets radio network.
Rangers win their season opener tonight. They beat the Capitals 5-2. The Islanders open their season in Phoenix. Steve Summers follows the Mets on WFAN New York.
With Tom McCarthy and Howie Rose, I'm Gary Cohen. J.D. Drew takes a strike from Tom Glavine, 0-1. We're in the top of the sixth inning, game 2 of this National League Division Series. Mets 2, Dodgers 0. Mets trying to go up by that number in the best-of-5 series. Drew is 0 for 2. The 0-1 from Glavine. Fastball strike on the outside corner. And Glavine gets ahead on Drew, 0-2. Glavine has struck out 2. He's walked 2. He's allowed no runs and 4 hits. The infield at double play depth. The outfield straight away against the left-handed Drew. 0-2 from Glavine. Up and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Glavine has been very sharp all night with his changeup. And he's been able to spot his fastball, and he's gone up with the fastball a couple of times, at one point hitting 88 miles an hour. That's generally a little bit out of his range. Mets get the bullpen cranking now. Bradford and Feliciano up. 1-2 to Drew. Breaking ball hit back to Glavine. He turns. Fires to second for 1. Reyes to first. Not in time. Not quite hit hard enough for the Mets to turn 2 against Drew, who can still get down the line well. They settle for the 1-6 force play, and Drew is aboard with 2 down.
Well, such a good fielder is Tom Glavine. Earlier this year, Gary, he had a couple of errors, and, some folks were wondering why he had those errors. And, a couple of times, he just mishandled the baseball. Another time it was a poor throw. It's not like him to misplay ground balls, and that's why once the ball went back to the mound, the way it did, as long as he spun and got the umpire out of his sights, he was going to make that throw to second base.
He's always very calm, cool, and collected on those throws to second. Russell Martin, the batter, and he takes low and outside, 1 ball, no strikes.
Yeah, I remember somebody came into town and said, "What's up with Glavine's defense?" And I had to think a couple of minutes because I'd forgotten that he had committed 2 early errors this season.
Martin has walked and flied to center, 0 for 1. He's been a tough out these first 2 games. And he takes the changeup away, and now it's 2-0. Martin worked a 10-pitch at bat for his walk in the second. And then in the fourth, with 2 out and 2 on, and the Dodgers down by a run, on 3-0, he went up there swinging and hit a lazy fly to center field. Now Glavine behind Martin, 2-0, with Drew at first and 2 out. And he hits one on the ground to short. Backhanded by Reyes. Goes to second. Force play, and the inning is over. Tom Glavine has turned in 6 shutout innings. Field Wilson Betemid will come into play third base. Julio Lugo moves from third to second. And Jeff Kent will move from second base to first base. Brett Tomko, who got the final 2 outs in the 5th, stays on to face David Wright, leading off the home 6th. And his first pitch, slider in for a called strike, 0-1. Wright went the other way his last time up and hit one to the fence in right field that on another day probably would have been in the bullpen. But J.D. Drew made a jumping catch against the wall. The 0-1, slider swung and missed, and Tomko quickly out in front, 0-2. The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by Amtrak. Travel to over 500 places on Amtrak. Call 1-800-USA-RAIL or visit us online at Amtrak.com. The 0-2 to Wright. Another slider misses away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This afternoon, the Cardinals went up 2-0 on the Padres in the other National League Division Series, getting a great effort out of Jeff Weaver and 4 Cardinal relievers combining on a 4-hitter and a 2-0 win. Hit off the fists of foul off to the right out of play, still 1-2. So the Cardinals go back home for Game 3 on Saturday, leading 2-0.
Well, Tony La Russa rolled the dice on Sunday by pulling back Chris Carpenter. Then he rolled the dice again by putting Jeff Weaver into Game 2.
Tomko's 1-2 to right. Fastball just outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Got a great outing from Carpenter in Game 1 of that series against the Padres. And Weaver pitched very well today. And he quieted a Padres offense that has been very quiet during the first 2 games.
How about Bruce Bochy not starting Mike Piazza?
I was surprised.
2-2 to right. Fastball, line drive, base hit, going into left field. And the Mets get the leadoff man on for the 4th time in 6 innings. David Wright with his 3rd hit of the series. And the Mets have a runner aboard for Cliff Floyd.
Yeah, you know, I was surprised that Piazza didn't play today. And I know he's been playing Bard a lot this year. But Piazza during a playoff game, particularly for a struggling offense, I mean, he could turn the tide of a game with 1 swing. And if he gets 3 chances to do it, I mean, the momentum could swing easily to the side of the Padres. But, you know, Bard has been playing a lot of games this year.
Maybe Bochy thought he'd get a Todd Pratt moment out of Josh Bard.
That's true.
Here's Floyd, who hit one to the fence in right field his last time up that he thought was gone off the bat. And he hits this one foul back upstairs, 0-1. Meanwhile, at Yankee Stadium, the Tigers even up their series against the Yankees in that rain-delayed game, 4-3. Justin Verlander pitched well. Jamie Walker got the win in relief. Todd Jones saved it. Mike Messina lost it. Carlos Guillen and Johnny Damon homered in that game. The lefty Mark Hendrickson up in the Dodger bullpen, but Floyd at the plate against the right-hander Tomko. The 0-1 in tight with a fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mets 2, Dodgers nothing, bottom of the 6th. Jose Reyes drove in a run with a ground out in the 3rd. Loduca got a run in with a sac fly in the 5th, but then the Mets left the bases loaded as Tomko got Delgado to ground out. Wright leads at first, 1-1 to Floyd. Line drive, center field. In comes Lawson, coming on, drops in, base hit. White stops at second, and the Mets have 2 men on. Cliff Floyd hit one down off the end of the bat, and it just died in shallow center field in front of Kenny Lofton. First and second, and nobody out.
Well, Rick Honeycutt's going to go to the phone right now to see if Mark Hendrickson is available to come into the ball game if he's loosened up enough. And he pitched in yesterday's game. I'm surprised, though, that the move wasn't made for Floyd because Valentine, you know, most likely will be up here trying to sacrifice the runners over to give Chavez a chance. Chavez, I mean, let's face it, Chavez hits lefties very well if they bring Hendrickson in. And again, Valentine, I mean, this is his best side. Maybe Willie Redknapp rolls the dice and lets him hit away.
Of course, behind Chavez, you got the pitcher spot. Glavine's throwing 94 pitches, so he may or may not bat. Corners come in. Valentine squares, lays off, and the pitch outside, and Martin fakes a throw to second base as David Wright took an extra stride. Anytime that hitter bunts through a ball or lays off a ball late, that runner at second base can get caught in between. And Martin likes to throw behind runners. We've already seen that tonight. Pedro Feliciano on call in the Mets bullpen in case the Mets want to bat for Glavine. Valentine waits. The corners come in. He squares, lays one down to third. The pitcher goes to it late. Tomko's throw gets away from Lugo, and the bases are loaded. Tomko thought that Benedict was going to play the bunt. Got the ball late. Head first slide at first by Valentine. Ball dropped by Lugo, and Valentine is aboard, and the Mets have the bases loaded and nobody out.
I think everybody cringes when a guy dives head first into first base, but the reason that Valentine did it there is because he thought the throw would be inside the first base bag, and he wanted to make sure that if it was a tag play, that he would be under that tag play. Lugo really should have caught that ball. He was on the first base bag with the wrong foot. He didn't stretch properly with his right foot on the bag. Instead, it was his left foot on the bag, and because of that, he couldn't get the glove on the baseball. He should have stretched a different way.
That's going to be an error on Lugo and a sacrifice for Valentine. Grady Little's on his way out to the mound. He's going to bring in the left-hander to face Andy Chavez. Maybe a day late and $1 short for Grady in this spot, but the Mets with an excellent chance to extend a 2-0 lead. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Digital Phone from Time Warner Cable. Calling. Well, for the second straight day, left-hander Mark Hendrickson comes out of the bullpen for the Dodgers in a tight spot in a situation where the Mets have a chance to add to their lead. Yesterday it was 4-1 when Hendrickson came in. He came in with runners at first and third and 1 out, struck out Sean Green, and after hitting Valentine with a pitch, got Guillermo Mota to fly out.
Now he comes in with the Mets up 2-0. Bases loaded, nobody out, and Andy Chavez coming to the plate. And Tom, they scored that at sacrifice and an error on the pitcher, but that's a play that Lugo should have made.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is a guy who's a pretty good defensive player. I know he had to come over to first base to make that play, but it was all about his footwork. And even with the bad footwork, he should have caught that ball. And Tomko was hesitant getting to the baseball, but that certainly shouldn't have been his error.
Infield in, right at third, Floyd at second, Valentin at first, nobody out. Chavez already 2 for 2. And Hendrickson's first pitch. Breaking ball in for a call strike, 0-1. Chavez with a bunt single in the third, and he went the other way and slapped a base hit to left against the left-hander Quo in the fifth. He's been doing that a lot this year against the lefties, taking that pitch the other way. The infield up all the way around. Bases loaded, nobody out. The 0-1 pitch. Chavez lays off the curveball, and it's outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Julio Franco has come out on deck to bat for Tom Glavine as the Mets hope to put this game away in the bottom of the 6th inning. Chad Billingsley, the right-hander, up in the Dodger bullpen. Hendrickson off the stretch. 1-1 to Chavez. Lays off the fastball, and it's low. 2 balls and a strike. David Wright led off the inning with a hard single to left. Cliff Floyd followed with a dying quill to center, and then Valentin with a bunt, which the Dodgers mishandled to load the bases. 2-1 to Chavez with nobody out. 2-0 New York, 6th inning. The outfield straightaway not too deep against Indy. Hendrickson from the third base side of the rubber. The 2-1 to Chavez. Flashed foul off to the left out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Andy Chavez drove in 42 runs during the regular season in just over 350 at-bats. Wound up starting almost half the game. And started tonight in right field, and it's already paid off. Now looking to cash in here in the 6th. 2-2 to Chavez. Breaking ball. He throws his bat at it. Hendrickson's got it at the mound. Throws home for the force play. Awkwardly grabbed by Martin, but in time to get David Wright for the first out of the inning. So Chavez, badly fooled, just threw his bat at the ball to make contact, and Hendrickson got the force at home. So now, bases loaded with 1 out, and Julio Franco will bat for Tom Glavine. So Glavine's done after 6 shutout innings. He allowed just 4 hits, a brilliant start for Glavine tonight, and certainly erasing the memory of his last postseason outings back in 2002 with the Braves, when he got beat up twice by the Giants. Now the Mets trying to make it stand up. Julio Franco had 15 pinch hits during the regular season, but he also grounded into 11 double plays. That's what the Dodgers are hoping for here. Bases loaded, 1 out, bottom of the 6th, 2-0 New York. The pitch to Franco, swinging a grounder to short, should be 2 for Cole, waits on it, flips to Lugo, on to first, not in time! Franco beats the ref, and the Mets get a run out of it, and it's 3-0 New York. And lay all of that at the doorstep of Rafael Furcal, who laid back on that ball and took too long to get the toss away to Lugo, enabling Franco to beat it out to get a run in as Floyd scores to make it 3-0.
Well, Gary, this was one of the worst defensive teams in the National League, not only because of errors this year, but also because of what we've seen during this inning. I mean, it's a bad decision by Rafael Furcal. I mean, this is an aggressive guy, the way he throws the baseball, the way he plays his position. And for some reason, he laid back and was not aggressive. And Lugo's throw to first base really had nothing on it as well.
So here's Reyes, first and third and 2 down, and Mets with a chance for more. Henderson delivers. He misses outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Reyes still looking for his first hit in the series. He does have an RBI ground out and an intentional walk today, but he's 0 for 6 so far in the 2 games. Valentin at third, Franco at first with 2 down. 3-0 New York. And Reyes hits one off the end of the bat foul up the first baseline. 1 ball and 1 strike. The run in this inning charged to Brett Tomko. It'll be an unearned run, the result of the error charged to Tomko on the bunt play by Valentin. 1-1 to Reyes. Hendrickson delivers.
Line drive, base hit going into center field. In to score is Valentine. Stopping at second is Bronco. It's an RBI single for Jose Reyes. His first career postseason hit, and it drives in a run, his second RBI of the night, and it's 4-0 New York. Well, that might free Jose Reyes up now for the remainder of the postseason. I know it sounds strange, but that first base hit sometimes for guys who are in their first postseason, it's usually their biggest one. This is a huge one here to add an insurance run in the sixth inning and set up the back end of the bullpen. But I think that is gigantic in the psyche of Jose Reyes.
And Shea is shaking as Paul Lo Duca steps in and can't lay off the breaking ball. He went around, 0-1. The Mets have 2 runs home here in the sixth inning. So in a series where up until this inning they've had trouble tacking on, with help from the Dodgers, they've been able to tack on 2 here in the sixth. Lo Duca already with a double and a sacrifice fly tonight. Bronco at second, Reyes at first, and 2 down. The 0-1 to Lo Duca. Hit off the fist to shortstop. Percal's got this one. Goes to second for the force play in time, and the inning is over. But the Mets had 2 runs. There were 3 hits, 1 error, and 2 men left. 6 in the books at Shea. The Mets 4, the Dodgers nothing. Tom and Howie will take it the rest of the way on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Sports Radio 66 WFAN New York.
Baseball isn't slow.
Top of the 7th inning, it's 4-0 Mets, and Marlon Anderson will lead things off for the Dodgers against left-hander Pedro Feliciano, who takes over for Tom Glavine. Feliciano's first pitch, fastball taken for a strike on the inside corner, and the count is 0-1. And a good outing for Glavine. He went 6 innings and probably would have been out there again in the 7th if Willie Randolph did not want to send Julio Franco up with an opportunity to drive home a couple more runs. But most importantly, Glavine got through that 6th inning. The 0-1 pitch to Anderson. Fastball taken for a strike thigh high, and the count is 0-2. And the reason that 6th inning is so important, because now Willie Randolph can use not only Feliciano here in the 7th inning, but if he needs to, Chad Bradford as well. And then Heilman can pitch the 8th inning, and Wagner can pitch the 9th inning. It's a great plan. But with Guillermo Mota throwing 2 innings yesterday, Willie would prefer to stay away from him, at least for the time being. So 0-2 the count to Anderson, who's 0 for 2. He's grounded out twice. Feliciano ready the pitch. Swing and a fly ball foul behind home plate into the Loge. The count holds 2 strikes. Feliciano appeared in yesterday's game for a very brief moment. He went just to third. He got the only batter he faced, and then gave way to Chad Bradford, who finished off the 5th inning for John Maine. During the regular season, Feliciano was outstanding. 3rd in the National League in ERA for relievers with a 2.09 mark. The 0-2 pitch again. Hit on the ground, back to the mound. No, it's in the air. It's gloved by Feliciano. He took it right out of the air. A knuckler to the mound. And there's 1 man down here in the 7th inning. I thought that ball actually hit in front of the plate, shot right to Feliciano. But he had Marlon Anderson off balance enough where he couldn't get the good part of the bat on the ball. And there's 1 set aside here in the 7th inning. So 4-0 Mets, and now Julio Lugo is the batter. Lugo is 1 for 2. He's rounded out to third, and he's doubled off the glove of David Wright at third. Wright plays it on the grass at third base. The first pitch is a strike. Down to 0-1.
Lugo was a big Met fan growing up in the Sunset Park area of Brooklyn. He's a free agent at the end of the year and a guy the Mets may have interest in.
The 0-1 pitch to Lugo. Outside a changeup, so it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Now, before the game, I talked about that in the press conference with Lugo, who said he would prefer wherever he goes to play shortstop. However, the Mets would undoubtedly be looking at him as a potential second baseman, and he did not make the strongest throw in the world on that pivot in the attempt to double up Franco.
Feliciano to the belt again, the 1-1. Slider taken for a strike on the inside corner. It's 1-2.
Little things like that might prove to be noteworthy and instructive for the Mets if, in fact, they get a look at Lugo at second base with an eye towards the future.
I think Lugo also wants everybody to know that if he was an everyday player, his batting average would be closer to what he hit in Tampa Bay than with Los Angeles. The 1-2 pitch. Change up down low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I mean, let's face it, this was a guy who hit over 300 with the Devil Rays and also had some pretty good pop. But with the Dodgers this year, since the trade, He hit only .219 with no home runs and 10 RBIs. Now the 2-2 pitch from Feliciano. Swing and a foul ball off the leg of Lugo and up the first base side. The count holds 2-2.
By the way, at that press conference, I also asked Lugo why he was such a big Mets fan, and I swear to you I did not put him up to this. His answer was, and I quote, "I love their blue hats." End quote.
You know, I think the real problem, though, and there was a lot of members of the media that were there, national and local, is when you stood up and started cheering. I don't think that was appropriate.
Well, listen, sometimes you got to do what you have to do to make a point.
2-2 the count to Lugo. Adjusts his batting gloves more to let the pain subside from that left leg. The infield is back all the way around for the Mets. The outfield is straight away. And again, the 2-2 pitch to Lugo. Slider just missed off the outside corner. It went right around the black, and the count is full 3-2. And you hesitate a little bit because Ted Barrett's strike zone early on gave the pitchers the outside part of the plate. So now Feliciano will deal a payoff pitch to Lugo. And here it comes. Slider hit foul behind home plate, just above our heads into the first couple of rows of the mezzanine. And the count holds full 3-2. The Mets with single runs in the third inning and the fifth inning. And then 2 more runs at the bottom of the sixth inning. And they lead it 4-0. Tom Glavine's 6 innings were outstanding today. Boy, he had a great changeup, his bread and butter pitch, but also a good fastball as well. Feliciano shakes off the first side. Now he's ready to the belt. The 3-2 pitch. Fastball just missed off the outside corner and a check swing. They appeal to the first base umpire, Eric Cooper. It says no swing. So ball 4, Lugo's aboard with a 1-out walk. And Ramon Martinez is going to be the pinch hitter for the Dodgers. Before he steps up, let's pause 10 seconds and allow our stations to identify themselves on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
All day, every day. Keep your radio locked in to the Fan. Sports Radio 66, WFAN, New York.
Along with Howie Rhodes, I'm Tom McCarthy. We are live from Shea Stadium. Top of the 7th inning, 1 man down. Ramon Martinez, the pitch hitter for the Dodgers. Lugo on first base of the pitch. Fastball taken for a strike on the outer edge. The count is 0-1. Martinez had an RBI double in the top of the 9th inning of yesterday's game as a pinch hitter. And boy, the hearts were racing after that opposite field double. And then Nomar Garciaparra went down on strikes with Martinez on second base to finish off the ball game. Feliciano tossed over to first. That chased Lugo back. Lugo is a threat to steal. He had 6 stolen bases this year with the Dodgers. Feliciano to the belt, looks over at first. The 0-1 pitch. Fastball outside. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Not only did he have the stolen bases for the Dodgers, but he had 18 steals for the Devil Rays. So combined, he had 24 stolen bases on the year. He sizes up his lead. Delgado holds him on. The 1-1 pitch. Slider hit foul behind home plate. And the count is 1-2. Cliff Floyd, the left fielder, just wandering around, trying to get himself set. Cliff playing deeper than normal when you glance out to left field because of that sore Achilles. Carlos Beltran, you know he's confident when he's playing a shallow center field, and he's shallow right now. And a step over toward right center field. Now Feliciano will step off and walk back to the edge of the mound and rub up the baseball. 4-0 Mets here at the top of the 7th inning. Chad Bradford is just standing around in the bullpen now for New York. Feliciano again to the belt, looks over at first, the 1-2. Swing and a line drive foul into the seats down the right field line. And the count holds 1-2. Taking a glance around the stands here at Shea. It's a crowd of more than 57,000. Bundled up on a cool night. Amazing to see all the different numbers, names on the backs of the jerseys. And some throwbacks, too. You see Tug McGraw, you see Nolan Ryan's number 30. That's amazing. You go from place to place. 1-2 the count. And the pitch from Feliciano. check swing. Did he go? Didn't matter. Called. Strike 3 on the outer edge. Ramon Martinez is down looking on strikes. And there's the second out here in the 7th inning.
You know, it's interesting about what you just said, Tom, about all the uniforms and numbers that you see, even from some of the older players, is that when Tug McGraw and Nolan Ryan were teammates on the 1969 World Champion Mets, you could not buy an authentic Major League Baseball uniform jersey. Things have really changed over the last 20 years, let alone 37.
Rafael Furcal, the batter with 2 men down. The pitch to him. Fastball outside and low, 1-0. Yeah, in fact, back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if you wanted one of those even throwback jerseys, I mean, they cost you a fortune. And now they're still rather expensive, but nowhere near as much as they used to be. Just they're easier to get. 1-0 pitch to Furcal. Swing and a foul ball off the leg of Paul LaDuca. And the count is even 1-1. So 2 outs here at the top of the 7th inning. 4-0 Mets on top. And Rafael Furcal looks like he's trying to get all the runs back with one big swing. Can't do that in this at-bat with 1 runner on. That's Lugo who leads off first base. David Wright is halfway, even with the bag at third. And the 1-1 pitch from Feliciano. Slider on the outside corner, and a good one. Called a strike, and the count is 1-2. And now the crowd of 57,029 comes to their feet with 2 outs and 2 strikes on the board to switch hitting Rafael Furcal. Batting right-handed against the left-hander, Pedro Feliciano. Right now, Bradford is just a spectator in the bullpen as Lugo leads off first. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a foul ball. He just got a piece of it as it rolls away from LaDuca. And the count holds 1 ball and 2 strikes. With Martinez pinch hitting here in the 9th inning, Chad Billingsley was loosening up for the Dodgers. Let's see if he's the guy that comes in. Furcal steps up in the box a little bit. And again, the 1-2 pitch from Feliciano. Swing and a looper into left field. Cliff Floyd started back. Now he comes in, makes the running grab toward the infield, and the inning is over. He hobbled a little bit, but he was able to put that one away to finish off the 7th inning. For the Dodgers, no runs, no hits, 1 man left. After 6.5, the score is New York 4, LA nothing. The 7th inning stretch is brought to you by New York City OTB. We bring the race to you. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of Sterling Mets and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Sterling Mets. Chad Billingsley is the new pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers. We begin the bottom of the 7th inning, and the Mets are leading it 4-0. The Mets scored a run in the 3rd inning with 2 base hits. They scored a run in the 5th inning with 1 base hit. And they scored 2 more runs, 2 unearned runs in the home half of the 6th inning. So now Chad Billingsley will take over for Mark Hendrickson. And this is the 4th pitcher used by Grady Little. Ang-Chi Kwo started the game, and he went 4 1/3. They allowed 4 hits and 2 runs. And there was a question as to whether Billingsley would be on the playoff roster once the postseason rolled around. He has been a starting pitcher for the Dodgers, but when Joe Bible went down with an injury, well, it opened up a spot authoritatively for Billingsley. Bible received stitches in his throwing hand, and the pinky of his throwing hand after he broke a glass in his hotel room here in New York, and that's a big blow for the Dodgers. So here's Billingsley. He'll face Carlos Beltran, Carlos Delgado, and David Wright. Chrysler 300C, one of the most awarded new cars, combines elegance, safety, and passion. Chrysler, inspiration comes standard. Beltran is 0 for 2. He has walked in tonight's game, and the Mets would love to get him on track as they get deeper into this postseason. For the time being, their sights are set on the final 2.5 of this ball game, but also the rest of the postseason. They need this bat to ignite offensively. The first pitch to him. Take it inside and low. It's 1-0. Aaron Heilman is up and loosening for New York in their bullpen. So he should pitch the 8th inning. Billingsley, the right-hander, ready. The 1-0 pitch. Fastball on the outside corner for a strike. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Beltran batting left-handed. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Slider taken for a strike. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Billingsley this year in the big leagues was 7-4 with a 3.80 ERA. He appeared in 18 games, 16 as a starter. In Las Vegas this year, which is the AAA affiliate for the Dodgers, he was 6-3 with a 3.95 ERA. The 1-2 pitch to Beltran. Breaking ball, swung on and missed. And Carlos is down on strikes for the first out here in the 7th inning. So with 1 man down, Carlos Delgado looks into the dugout before he walks to the plate, the Dodgers dugout. And there's really nothing going on in Los Angeles' bullpen.
Now, I'll be interesting to see what happens if the Mets should go in order. Here in the bottom half of the 7th inning, would Cliff Floyd, who would then be due to lead off the 8th, come out for defense, perhaps put Michael Tucker in left field in place of Cliff, who really hobbled in from left field after making the final catch of the final out of the top of the 7th inning.
First pitch to Delgado, fastball inside, it's 1-0. The other thing they could do is they could move Chavez over to left to put Green in right field.
Well, you could do that. I'm just wondering whether or not Willie will want to try to get Floyd one more at bat in the bottom of the 8th inning if the Mets go in order here.
1-0 pitch, fastball along the knees to Delgado, and the count is 1-1. Delgado's 1 for 3, and the reason being, after he made that running grab, and he probably has 1 running grab in him per game, he was really limping off the field.
Yeah. Very badly at one point.
1-1 pitch to Delgado, taken inside and low, 2-1.
My point would be, or at least my guess would be, you're going to have at least a 4-0 lead. Start thinking defense, and never mind getting Cliff that next at bat.
Here's the 2-1 pitch to Delgado. Hit foul over the third base dugout out of play, and the count is 2-2. And the other thing, too, Howie, is if, let's say it's Sean Green, if he gets up again, it's a lefty, no doubt against the right-hander, because the Dodgers have no more lefties. They've already used Mark Hendrickson. Game 3, which will be Saturday. It'll be Greg Maddux for the Dodgers and either Steve Traxel or Oliver Perez for the Mets. 2-2 pitch. Fastball on the outside corner. Called strike 3. Delgado did not like the call from the home plate umpire, Ted Barrett. But he's down looking on strikes, and it'll bring David Wright to the plate. Pro baseball is 135 years old. The New York Board of Trade is 136. When you've been around that long, you must be doing something right. Learn about New York's original futures exchange, where the world trades your favorite things. Log on to nybot.com and you'll know the score. 2 men down for David Wright here in the 7th inning. Mets lead at 4-0. A sold-out crowd. The first pitch. Fastball taken inside. It's 1-0. And these crowds, these last 2 days, more than 100,000 here at Shea Stadium. Watched the Mets win a tight one yesterday, 6-5. 1-0 pitch to David Wright. Taken down low, 2 balls and no strikes. And there was such an energy here at the ballpark yesterday for that day game. You know, usually night games will provide even more of a spark, even though it's a cool night. 2-0 pitch, hit in the air on the right side, slicing toward the crowd. Kent gives it a look, and it goes back a few rows. And the count is 2-1. You can sense that this crowd, probably a lot of the same folks as yesterday, but also a number of different folks. And early on, they were just looking for something to bust out and cheer for. And they had to wait until the 3rd inning offensively when the Mets scored the first run of the game. 2-1 to Wright. Change up, hit on the ground softly towards shortstop. Percal waits for it, settles himself, throws to first, and he just got David Wright by about a step. And the inning is over.
Able to take advantage of the depth in their bullpen. Only Guillermo Mota really struggled, and it wasn't all his doing when you think back to that bad decision Jose Valentin made, not getting a sure out at first. But anyway, 4-0 as we go to the 8th. Aaron Heilman to Kenny Lofton, and a fastball on the inside corner for strike 1. Lofton 0 for 3 in this game, 0 for 7 in the series. Lofton, Bedamit, and Kent due up for the Dodgers. The right-hander Heilman delivers, change up inside and low, 1-1. Well, Willie Randolph has decided he wants to get Cliff Floyd one more at-bat against a right-hand pitcher. So Floyd stays in the game in left field. We're wondering whether or not Willie might pull him out for defense with a 4-0 lead as we start the 8th inning. He has not. And the 1-1 fouled straight back by Lofton, who had a late swing. And the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. That's about hit the Dodgers 7-4. The wind continues to blow in, which is always a nice thing when you've got a 4-run lead. And the 1-2 pitch on the way, a fastball high, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know how you talked about the fact that Floyd's still out there. The reason it's going to be difficult defensively is because if Heilman's changeup is on, you would think that Lofton and Betamit, they're not going to get good swings at it, so they're probably not going to pull the ball. They're going to punch it the other way, and that's where you get a little concerned about Cliff's defense.
Cliff caught a fly ball from Rafael Percal to end the top of the 7th inning, and as he came back in from left field, he really was hobbling. But he is hanging in. Kenny Lofton distracted evidently by the Dodgers team bus, which is pulling into position, or trying to anyway, out behind center field, and it's in his line of sight. And there is some white showing on that bus, which could obscure Lofton's view of the baseball, and that's why he is waiting for that bus to move.
I think the white part of it is the point right there, Howie. The fact that the bus is white and blue, but with a lot of white just above the fence. And, you know, as Heilman comes to the plate, and I would think that it affects the hitter more if there was a left-hander on the mound, because the ball's coming out from to the right of the 410 sign where the bus is.
And I think it's important to note, too, that some of the activity that involves teams departing and showing up at Shea Stadium is being changed around a little bit logistically because of the construction of the new ballpark. So they've just had to reposition some things, and where the buses line up now is not where they always used to line up. So it's a bit of an education for some of the bus drivers, too. But now the bus is pulling out of Lofton's range of vision, and Heilman goes back to work. The 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss at a fastball, strike 3. And Lofton down on strikes, 1 man away.
Oh, the crowd loved it, too. I mean, if it was a Met player that was up at the plate, they probably would have waited, too, for the bus to move away. But the fact that Lofton was the guy, and he was the guy that waited for the bus, the fans were a little antsy about it. He heard it as he went back to the dugout, too.
So 1 out, nobody on. Wilson Betamit up for the first time after replacing Garcia Pare in the batting order. The first pitch, fastball, a little bit high, 1-0. Betamit started yesterday at third base and went 2 for 3, scored 2 runs, also drew an intentional walk. Switch hitter batting left, and the 1-0 pitch. Hit in the air, foul down the left field line, 1-1. Betamit acquired from the Atlanta Braves when Willie Ibar went to Atlanta. Batted .263 on the year with 18 home runs. Half of them hit with the Dodgers and 53 runs batted in. At one time, Betamit was a very highly regarded prospect in the Atlanta system. Here's the 1-1. Fastball fouled back to the screen, 1-2. Mets baseball is brought to you by RE/MAX of New York. Is your real estate agent only showing you the listings they want you to see? Visit RE/MAXNY.com now and see all the listings in New York State. Nobody in the world sells more real estate than RE/MAX. 1-2 to Betamit. 1 out, nobody on. 4-0 New York, top of the 8th. Heilman into the windup. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a pop foul into the seats behind first base. Had him out in front of what was a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Betamit started that swing a little early. And so it's still 1 ball and 2 strikes. The outfield pretty much straight away. Maybe Floyd taking 1 extra step towards the gap in left center against Betamit. Right a step behind the bag and well off the line at third. 1-2 pitch, foul back to the screen. And Wilson Betamit, with his team down 4 runs, is taking some pretty hefty cuts. Jeff Kent is in the on-deck circle. Now Heilman rubs up a new ball, climbs back up onto the mound. It's been the coolest night we've had here at Shea in a long time. Tom Glavine spent most of his 6 innings blowing on his hand between pitches. Now Heilman ready. The 1-2 pitch, low, ball 2. And LaDuca made a nice stop on a short hop. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, I know we can never tell how a pitcher's going to be affected by the weather, but I wondered about how Glavine would be affected on this cool night. I mean, he hasn't pitched in, temperatures like this really since April. And, well, I'll say that changeup was not affected at all by the cool temperatures.
Allowed 4 hits, walked 2, struck out 2. And now Heilman with a 2-2 pitch to Betamit. And it swung on and fouled back to the screen again. That time he just did get a piece of it. And the count 2-2. Heilman threw him a changeup there. After Betamit had actually been a little over-aggressive on a fastball previous pitch. Well, that was Heilman's thinking. If he's going to sit fastball, let me give him that changeup. Most hitters, of course, are sitting fastball anyway. Now the 2-2 on the way, and a fastball high, ball 3. So Heilman has run it full. Aaron works from the first base side of the rubber. LaDuca flashing signs. Now the payoff pitch. Swing and a fly ball to deep right center. Beltran on the run going way back. This ball is gone. A home run for Wilson Betemit. We wondered if anybody would get one out of here tonight with the wind blowing in, but Betemit just turned around a 92-mile-an-hour fastball and hit it just in front of that home run apple to get the Dodgers on the board, and the Met lead is now 4-1.
I'll give him some credit, Howie. I mean, he ran the count to 3 balls and 2 strikes, but in doing so, fouled off a few pitches and, finally got one that was really up in the zone. And it was, what you talked about. He was guessing the right pitch, and he had the bat on the ball very quickly.
So 4-1 New York. And now Jeff Kent, who's had 2 out of 3. 2 hard hit singles to left field. And the Dodger dugout buzzing for the first time tonight. Fastball to Kent, in for a strike. It's 0-1. J.D. Drew, a left-hand hitter, waits on deck. Now Heilman with an 0-1. Change up outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jeff Kent is just 0 for 2 against Heilman in his career. He did not face Aaron in yesterday's game. Now Heilman with a 1-1 pitch. And Kent lines it in the air, right center field, pretty deep. Beltran on the run, still going. He gets there and makes the catch as he crosses the warning track. His momentum taking him right past the 371 mark. So Kent gave it a pretty good ride on a changeup. That was up. And now there are 2 men away, and that'll bring up J.D. Drew. Drew flied out to left field to start the 8th inning against Heilman last night. Remember, neither team will do much of anything tomorrow other than have a very light workout. First pitch on the way to Drew, who's 0 for 3. Fastball high, 1-0. So Willie has the bullpen where he wants it. He wants to get Heilman through this inning and hand it off to Wagner in the 9th, and then everybody could take tomorrow off with Guillermo Mota having had a very important day of rest for him. The 1-0. That's a strike at the knees on the outside corner, 1-1. And what is so important is that now you get into Steve Traxel, who by Saturday will have gone nearly 2 weeks between outings. And then Oliver Perez behind him if we go to Sunday. And a pop-up into shallow left field. Moving in Floyd. He's under it. Makes the catch. And that retires the side. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors. Nobody left. Middle of the 8th at Shea. Mets 4, Dodgers 1 on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. We head the last of the 8th inning here at Shea. In Game 2 of the Division Series, the Mets leading the Dodgers 4-1. And the Dodgers will make several changes here. J.D. Drew will come out of the ballgame after making the last out of the top half of the 8th inning. Marlon Anderson moves to right field from left field. Andre Ethier comes into play left. And the new pitcher is the guy who was the closer, Takashi Saito, a right-hander. And his first pitch to Cliff Floyd is on the outside corner, a strike, 0-1. Saito, a great story. He's 36 years of age. His first year in the major leagues coming from Japan, and he was brilliant. Now the 0-1, and a fastball high, 1-1 to Floyd. Cliff 1 for 3 in the game. When Eric Gagne went down again, they didn't know what they were going to do. They thought maybe Broxton would eventually ascend to the role of closer, but Saito did, and he was fabulous. Here's the 1-1 to Floyd. Swing and a miss at a fastball, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, they also had Danny Baez, who actually pitched well at times as a closer this year for L.A., but really struggled right before the trade to Atlanta. So once he went to Atlanta, that left things wide open.
Now the 1-2 pitch on the way. And a breaking ball just missed inside, 2-2. Saito saved 24 of the 26 opportunities he had. They only hit 177 against him. took over the closer's role in June at 177, the lowest average against a National League pitcher. 2-2 to Floyd, foul off behind home plate into the seat, still 2-2.
And Howie, you wonder if it'll matter at all, but the fact that they took J.D. Drew out as part of a double switch means that Grady Little wants Saito to pitch maybe 2 innings if he needs him to pitch 2 innings. If the Dodgers were to tie up the ball game in the top of the 9th inning, but boy, I hate to take out the guy who leads my team in RBIs, particularly when Nomar Garciaparra is already out of the ball game.
Now Saito into the windup, the 2-2 pitch. Slider hit on the ground towards second, backhanded by Lugo. He sets and throws in time, 1 man away. So Floyd grounds out. Jose Valentin will bat, and we'll pause for station identification on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Brendan Shanahan and Jaromir Jagr each scored Ranger goals. Rangers win their season opener. They beat the Capitals 5-2. Steve Summers follows Mets baseball on WFAN New York.
Howie Rose, Tom McCarthy with you from Shea. Our thanks to Gary Cohen for joining us in the 5th and 6th as well. The Mets lead the Dodgers 4-1. Jose Valentin, the batter. Switch hitter batting left, Saito deals. And a fastball high, 1-0. Valentin lined softly to short. Walked and scored in the 5th. Sacrificed and reached on an error in the 6th inning. That was by the pitcher Brett Tomko. The 1-0, changeup outside, 2 balls. No strikes, and then Valentin will come around to score in the 6th inning as well. That's 4, Dodgers 1, bottom of the 8th inning. Saito winds and delivers. Swing and a foul back to the screen, 2-1. The 9th inning, the Dodgers will be scheduled to send up Russell Martin, Marlon Anderson, and Julio Lugo. Remember, as Tom mentioned, now not only J.D. Drew, but also Nomar Garciaparra out of the ball game. 2-1 to Valentin. Outfield a step towards right. Now the pitch. Fastball fouled back to the screen. 2-2. Andy Chavez waving a bat around in the on-deck circle. Saito rubbing up a new ball. He was all over the rookie leaderboard in a variety of categories this year. A 36-year-old rookie. 2-2 slider yanked foul down the right field line. Led National League rookie pitchers. Actually was second in games. Led them in saves with 24. He won 6 games. Saito was 6-2 with a 2.07 earned run average. He's not overpowering fast. Jonathan Broxton is. He generally is the setup guy for Saito. 2-2 pitch, taken high, ball 3. Full count to Valentin.
He had a very accomplished career over in Japan, not only as a starting pitcher, which that was most of his career, but also as a reliever, as a closer over in Japan. At 36 years old, he's going to be an awfully young rookie to be in that Rookie of the Year category, or awfully old rookie.
Payoff pitch, breaking ball, fouled by the Mets dugout off the screen and carrying into the coach's box.
And he's another one, Howie, that if there weren't so many rookies having good years with the Florida Marlins, Ryan Zimmerman with the Washington Nationals, even his teammate Russell Martin, he probably would have been given consideration for Rookie of the Year. As it turns out, he'll be given consideration, but I don't think he'll be able to overcome the offensive years that those guys had.
Now the payoff pitch. And a breaking ball fouled down off the foot of Valentin, who takes a little hop and starts to walk off the pane. So we'll look at the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by the New York Lottery. Play New York Lotto or Mega Millions today. You could win millions. You never know. This afternoon, the Tigers beat the Yankees 4-3 to tie that series at 1 game apiece. And the Cardinals took a 2-0 lead over the Padres, winning 2-0. Cardinals won the first 2 on the road. Tigers got their split at Yankee Stadium. And no travel day because of the rain out last night, so they'll play Game 3 tomorrow. The payoff pitch to Valentin. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. So Saito coming down and in with an 88-mile-an-hour fastball. 2 out, nobody on, and that'll bring up Chavez. First strikeout for Saito. Well, Indy has had a terrific day. Bunted his way on. That was in the 3rd inning. Eventually came around to score. Ripped a single in the 5th inning to left field after falling behind 0-1. That helped the Mets build their 2nd run. First pitch to him. Fastball outside, 1-0.
I think he's actually put Willie Randolph in a tough spot come Saturday because he has played well enough in this ball game to get a chance to play again on Saturday. And you wonder if Willie will give him a chance to play again on Saturday.
1-0 pitch. Fastball lined into the glove of Lugo at second, side retired. So the Mets go in order, and at the end of 8, it's the Mets 4 and the Dodgers 1 on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. We head to the 9th inning at Shea. The Mets leading the Dodgers 4-1, and Billy Wagner comes out of the bullpen for the second straight game, trying to save it. Russell Martin, right-hand batter, leads off. First pitch, fastball fouled off just to our left, 0-1. Wagner picked up the save yesterday, so he's looking for the second of the series. And the UPS store would like you to remember these 6 words: don't you worry about a thing. Wagner ready, the 0-1. Slider outside and high, ball 1. The save yesterday was not a clean one. Wilson Benameeth led off with a double in the 9th inning. Came around to score on a pinch hit 2-out double by Ramon Martinez. The 1-1 pitch, slider fouled straight back, 1-2. So Wagner getting ahead of Martin with Marlon Anderson and Julio Lugo to follow. Greg Maddux scheduled to pitch for the Dodgers in Game 3, probably against Steve Traxel, although Willie Randolph would still not make that definite before the game tonight. A 1-2 pitch, fastball high and tight. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Maybe Willie will say something after this ball game comes to a close, but you wonder if there's something in his mind that's thinking maybe I'll give Traxel one more day just to clear his head a little bit.
2-2 to Martin. Al Wagner deals. High and tight again, ball 3. Well, the interesting thing about that scenario is that if the Mets win this game, if Traxel's okay to go between rust and the family issues, here's the payoff pitch. Hit on the ground to short, right at Reyes. He gobbles it up, throws high to first. Delgado off the bag, applies the tag. 1 man away. Well, Reyes made Delgado and about 57,000 hearts jump. So 1 out, nobody on, and Marlon Anderson coming up. But the point is, Traxel will have gone about 2 weeks between starts. However, if the Mets hold on here and you're up 2-0, if Oliver Perez is going to pitch Game 4, this is just my opinion now, with Traxel, you can let him go 5, even 6 innings, maybe more depending upon how he's going. First pitch to Anderson, low outside, 1-0. And then save Darren Oliver, the long man, in case Perez gets into trouble early in a 4th game. You don't want to have to use Darren Oliver with Perez still to come. The 1-0, outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Just my opinion.
No,
I don't know
think
if Willie's thinking that way.
I think it's an excellent point, too, because if Traxel can go 5, then you can mix and match your bullpen, through the rest of the ball game.
And who's to say Traxel can't give you 6 or 7 terrific innings? There are just some unknown factors right now between the long stretch between starts and the family issues, and however heavily they may weigh. 2-0 pitch, slider on the inside corner, strike 1. Anderson hit back to the mound, grounded to second, and lined softly to the mound. He's 0 for 3. Lugo on deck, 1 out, top of the 9th, 4-1 New York. The outfield straight away against Marlon Anderson. Wright is even with a bag at third, now creeping in a step. 2-1 pitch, foul back to the screen, 2-2. Most of this crowd, and there are very, very few who appear to have left, but those who are here, almost all of them anyway, on their feet. 57,029. Paid attendance, the largest for a division series game here at Shea. This is the 3rd division series the Mets have played in. 2-2 to Anderson. Wagner ready. Now the pitch. Swing and a chopper back towards the mound. Wagner's got it. Runs towards first. Throws to Delgado. 2 men away. So Wagner's got the first 2. And Julio Lugo will hit for the Dodgers with 2 out, nobody on. That's trying to go up 2-0. Anderson taking a very slow walk back to the dugout as Wagner goes to the third base side of the rubber, gets the side from Loduca. The first pitch, Best ball line fouled into the seats behind first, 0-1.
Howie, the other thing, too, and this may not be a big deal at all, but Olmedo Sainz has come out of the on-deck circle to hit for Andre Ethier. If we get to that point, Ethier came in as part of a double switch for J.D. Drew, and you wonder now if Drew's actually healthy. Why he was taken out of the game for a double switch if they were going to just send Olmedo Sainz to the plate anyway to bat for Ethier.
0-1 to Lugo. Wagner ready. Now the pitch. Inside and low, ball one. And one other note. We wondered as far back as the 8th inning, the top of the 8th inning, really the bottom of the 7th, whether Cliff Floyd would stay in the game. Well, he is still in left field. Willie elected not to take him out for defense. Here's the 1-1. And a fastball high, 2-1. Realistically, the options were Michael Tucker or Sean Green. Tucker could have played left. Green might have gone into right, moving Chavez to left. But I know Willie likes Chavez's arm in right field. Here's the 2-1 to Lugo. Swing and a miss at a fastball, strike 2. And the count 2-2 with 2 outs. So Lugo steps out of the box, readjusts his batting glove. Billy Wagner is staring, waiting for him on the rubber. Loduca squatting behind the plate, flashing signs. Wagner's ready, comes set. The 2-2 pitch, swing and a ground ball to short. Reyes up with it, throws to first, off the bag. Delgado tags him, put it in the book. The New York Mets have taken Game 2 of this National League Division Series from the Dodgers. They win it 4-1. They go up 2-0. Jose Reyes made it a little frightening in the 9th inning with 2 throws that pulled Carlos Delgado off the bag. But Billy Wagner works a 1-2-3 ninth, and the Mets have taken the first 2 from the Dodgers. In the 9th inning, nothing across. The final score in Game 2, the New York Mets 4 and the Los Angeles Dodgers 1. Back to talk about it in a moment on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.